Welcome to episode 9 of Draw a Circle for
Hey!
November 9th, 2016.
Episode 9 on November 9th. That's quite cool.
Episode 9 on November 9th.
I quite like that. That's quite satisfying.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Oh, it looks like right as we went in, I get the connection error thing on the Skype window. Apparently my internet's being funny, so we're gonna every now and then see a random little box that appears letting us know that my internet connection isn't very good right now for some reason.
Oh no, is that appearing on screen?
It did briefly, like pretty much right as we came in, it showed up. It was back.
Good. Well done, internet.
Hello, Waffle and Bear. They stay for a little bit, but wanted to join in while they could, which is sweet.
Quick, just joining from work.
Yeah,
so that's pretty nice.
That's also nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have a chilled one today, guys. I think everyone needs to chill.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Calm down. Why are you mad? Calm. No, we're gonna chill.
Yeah. No, I went to bed early last night and slept in late, so I hope everything's fine. I don't really know what
I was in a coma,
I haven't checked the newspaper or anything, so I hope everything's good. I forgot to look. I felt like something important was going on, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, there must be something I'm forgetting. I mean, something really important that
No,
can't quite put my finger on it.
I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me later.
Maybe I left the oven on. I don't know.
It was me. You know what? I just realized what it was. Is I didn't double check the recording settings to make sure that I'm not recording the music too. That's what it is. So I'm just gonna do that
Okay.
and just make sure that's all good. You know, I'm sure it's fine. Look at that. Yep, just as expected. Yep, it's good. Everything couldn't be better. How things been for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm tired today. I obviously watched some of the US election. I woke up a bit early for it this morning, so I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, I didn't even catch. How did that go? I didn't catch. I think everyone. I went to sleep early. I just woke up. I hope everything went. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Everything went perfectly.
Jesus.
Allies.
Allies for life.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Special relationship and all that
jazz.
Yeah, no. So I woke up a little bit flat. I'm a bit tired. Done a lot of work today. Getting. Oh god, I'm plodding my way through pages. I did 20 pages yesterday. 20 bloody pages.
20 in a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Things happening. Yeah.
Is that the most you've ever done in one day?
No.
Oh no, what's the most you've ever done in a day?
God knows. Well, how many did I do on my 36-hour day? Does that count as a day?
Right. You had a 36-hour day.
However many I did during that was the most I've ever done.
You're the person I knew that beat my drawing record for number of consecutive hours drawing. 36 straight total.
Shit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That demolished my drawing record. I'm impressed.
No, like I just didn't sleep. Like that's so dumb. Don't do that. People don't do that.
Yeah, that's not the
healthiest
thing.
You never recover from that. You never get well after that. You just stay ill. Yeah, so that would be the most I ever did. And if anyone honestly asked me how many pages I did during that day, I don't know. I honestly do not know. I just remember my eyes glazing over and just drawing constantly. The thing is, right. I think the only people who will get this are people who have worked on a very, very, very long project that has a very, very tight deadline. They will understand this.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where it's just happening. It's just you aren't controlling it. It's just happening in front of you. Like it gets to a point where you know how to draw every page. You know how every bit is done. It becomes a routine. And I know that I do the pencils and then I fill it in with the block color inks and then I draw the hash lines and I draw the hash lines the other way. And at some point you stop paying attention and it just happens in front of you and you realize that 10 hours has gone by and it's like, oh, why? So I've watched a lot of Netflix.
Netflix is so good for those situations.
Yeah, I just leave Netflix and YouTube on and I like binge watch stuff as I just draw like that. I binge watched the entire series of The Crown in a day. So that's pretty good.
I heard that has a lot of corgis in it, so I'm on board.
It has a few corgis, but only in the later episodes. But when I saw the corgis, I was like, I feel like you should watch this just for the corgis.
God, the later episodes. That's usually I would figure they would lead with that to get me hooked. It's kind of like
it's showing. For those who don't know, it's about Queen Elizabeth II, our royal sovereign, and it's about her coming to the throne, her very, very early years, in her early 20s, when she is thrust into the throne, and the different decisions that she has to make in a very turmoil-filled and change-filled version of the United Kingdom. It's very political, but also very... it's very interesting from like a social point of view of the monarchs themselves, which I quite like. I quite like being able to see a version of the real them. It's intriguing. I think if you like Downton Abbey, you'll like it. I personally am not a fan of Downton Abbey, but that's just because I know that's going to hurt a lot of people.
That's like when I said that I had problems with lots of 90s music, you just... Whoever was left is gone. I haven't even watched it, but whoever's left is just...
I feel like the Americans are more fans of Downton Abbey than the Brits are. Well, obviously we do have a big Downton Abbey fan base here, but it's not my personal cup of tea. I think it just... I don't know. It's a bit drawn out for me. I don't really work well with soaps and stuff like that because it just doesn't end, if that makes sense. Like, you're constantly... Another thing is happening, and another thing is happening, and another thing. Like, it never stops, and that's not really my kind of thing. I like things that end, and then you have a story arc, and it comes to a close, and then you walk away. So I quite like... I feel like I'm very much suited to Netflix. I like to binge watch, like, 50 episodes, and then it ends. I'm like, thank you. That was nice. So I've been enjoying it. I think if you have an interest in British history, I think you'll enjoy it. I studied modern British history and modern American history in school. I quite enjoyed that in school, mainly because it was not the Tudors, which in the UK, right? You won't have this, okay? You won't have this dumb shit, right? In the UK, we study the Tudors so bloody much, right? It's ridiculous. Like, I think I studied the Tudors 4 years in a row. It's like, there's nothing more to tell. It gets to the point where they're just telling you that Henry VIII is beheading all his wives, and it gets to a point where it's like, I don't care anymore. Like, why you teach me something new? It was like when I finally got to learn ancient Egypt, me and my friend, we were very big Stargate fans.
Right.
And they said, okay, we've been thinking about what subject we're going to study in history, and we have decided on ancient Egypt. Me and my friend leapt into the air. We were like, yes! 1, not the Tudors. 2, we can convince everyone that they were all aliens. We were so excited. It also helped that I wrote in hieroglyphics. Look, I'm a dumb person. I do dumb shit, right? When I was a kid, I learned how to write in hieroglyphics because I felt like it. I think I have the book of translation.
You should do the first graphic novel ever that's completely in hieroglyphics.
Oh my god, I'd be so... Here it is, look, dude!
Oh my god, you have it with you? Wait, maybe we should go to full screen for this one.
No, this isn't something that I wrote. I have... Okay, right, I knew...
Oh, I thought you had, like, a comic or something you did.
I have a story to do with this, right? So this is Egyptian hieroglyphics for everyone.
Everyone!
So, an introduction to the writing of ancient Egypt. And it teaches you hieroglyphics, okay? It teaches you it as if you were learning a language, right? And it states several times, look, it's like a representation of words, and the original words were in another language altogether. So it's like, it's various different translations onward. But I fell in love with this. As a massive Stargate fan, I was like, oh my god, what if I can read all the stuff in the background on the sets, right?
It's so probably all gibberish.
It probably is. So I started learning this, and then for those who know me, who I need to, it will beautifully segue into a completely different conversation. For those who know me well, you will know that my favorite video game in the whole world is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. So I took this book.
Oh my god, here we go.
And I wrote the entire storyline of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time in hieroglyphics, and then painted it on my bedroom wall.
What?
At the end of like.
Wait, why? I want that book. I want that book. I will buy that.
Well, the entire history of Ocarina of Time in hieroglyphics.
Yeah, that should go onto the Geyser Inc. website. I will pre-order it.
I have it somewhere. I'll find it for you. The thing is there are no hieroglyphics for a lot of the things in Ocarina of Time. Like, there's no hieroglyphic for, like, Gokma, the spider queen who spawns creatures at you. Like, there's no hieroglyphic for that. So I had to design hieroglyphics for all the different bosses and stuff, and like Ganondorf and Link and stuff. Like, I drew them as like little like 2D oh my god, let's face it, it's like perfection. That was like my first proper, like, I don't know.
How long is it?
Storytelling. Well, it's in hieroglyphics, so that you can fit a lot in one page. So it's actually just the one page of A4, but they're all in like little columns, like going down. So you read it as if it were a panel on a wall, because I designed it to be then painted on my wall.
Have you made a print of it?
No. It was just like I drew. Well, I couldn't make a print, but I drew it all individually, and then I literally scale for scale painted on the wall. I also, I got my dad's help with a giant ruler and painted a 2-scale ancient Egyptian pyramid on my wall. Literally, the bloody little what do you call them? The little bricks all line up perfectly, and it is genuinely 2-scale.
Good lord!
And I don't know why. That's what me decided to do.
Because I mean that's the thing you were into.
Young. I must have been about 8 when I did that.
That makes sense. That's when I was drawing roller coasters.
Yeah. That's when us artists do weird stuff.
That's when we could just, you know, draw whatever we like, unhindered, what? Is that right? I can't even think of words. Man, I'm struggling. Whatever, but you know, here we go. Oh, wait, I think we have some other. I
quite like Heather Makes Things. Yeah, did you just read that as well?
Yeah. I learned shorthand so I could read what my Christmas presents were.
See,
my mom would write notes on them so she knew what she wrapped up.
That is functional, useful information. Learning shorthand means that you gain knowledge. Mm-hmm. There's no point in learning Egyptian hieroglyphics if you are not going to be a historian. Like,
right.
Oh my god.
You got to be resourceful.
I got known for that in school.
What?
In school we had a thing where we would have this was in secondary school, so that's like ages 13 to 18. We have someone come in as like a personal finance and careers officer, I think they were called, or something like that. A careers officer, I think it was shortened to. And they would come in and they would speak to every single student in the last few years of schooling, right before you chose your specific like specialities. And they would discuss with you what you wanted to do with your life, and therefore what you should study in return. And every time I kept getting called back to him because he was like, "You have a dumb career path. What are you doing?" And he would always call me back in because he was so concerned about me, because I had very high grades. I worked very, very hard. I had good grades in English and history. I had good prospects for going on to a quite well-paid job. I mean, that's what everyone tells you, but then you get out of uni and there's no jobs. Yeah. But so they were very concerned that I had all of that, and yet I was absolutely adamant I would be an artist. And they're like, "You're gonna make no money." They were so adamant. They were like, you're not gonna do anything. If you become an artist, nothing will happen. I'm
Right.
like, please. I'm like, I promise you, I can do this. And they're like, we can't let you do this. Like, they were so adamant. And the thing was, is this guy got to know me because they kept calling me back in to see this guy. And he got to know me as the hieroglyphics girl because he found out that I had learned how to write hieroglyphics, and he thought it was the dumbest yet best thing he'd ever heard. So I would like write hieroglyphics for him. It was so funny. It was just so dumb.
I want to mention here, Waffle and Bear says, represent from a person who learned how to write Elvish for fun.
Yes! What the bet, you are my new friend. Was that Lord of the Rings Elvish? I'm assuming so.
What dialect of Elvish?
Huh?
Oh, what dialect of Elvish?
What dialect?
Hello, Demon Man.
Hello. Welcome to the map. Everyone's names are pink for me, and I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I got
that
an assortment of colors.
Yeah, everyone's pink for me, and everyone's either pink or yellow, except for you. You're blue for me. I know that people can choose what colors they want, but I don't think it necessarily shows that to everyone else. So I feel like you can be like, yeah, I'm blue, and everyone else is like, no, you're not. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just. I just know because I use the colors to like spot that there's different people talking.
Oh, right.
But,
I guess it doesn't
like,
really doesn't matter to me, you know. It's all the same to this guy. Just kidding, they're
right,
not all
yeah.
exactly the same. But just don't quiz me on what colors are what. Oh boy.
Kenya. What is that? Quenya. Is that the dialect of
What?
Elvish? I used to write homework notes in it. Oh my god, you're my favorite person. I did that for German. I quite enjoyed German. I hated French. I enjoyed German. And we got given we were given a diary, and we were told to write in our diary every day, trying to write something in German, to try and help us learn the language. And I was like, I hate writing diaries. It's like the two things that you're supposed to like as a young arty girl, I hate, which is writing diaries and drawing self-portraits. I was like, I'm not doing either of these things. And they were like, well, fine. What do you want to do with it? You have to write something because you have to bring it in every week for homework. And I was like, once again, I was like, would you mind if I wrote the entire story of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess in German? They were like, fine, do whatever you want. So I did that. I wrote all of Twilight Princess in German. I have that somewhere. And it's like, I wrote out the names. Like, I had to learn. Oh my god, I wish I could remember the names of them. Maybe I'll find it for next week. Someone will have to remind me. But I had to figure out what the names of enemies would be in German. So I signed up for an online game of The Legend of Zelda. They had like this online version out at the time to advertise Twilight Princess. But I signed up as a German account so that I could learn what they called all of the enemies. And then I would have to translate stuff. So it was like Shadow Monster. I'd have to know what Shadow and Monster were in German and combine the two and stuff like that. And it was so dumb. And I feel like, at the time, I thought I was well impressive, but I feel like everyone just thought I was some crazy hipster.
No, it's like fine. I mean, I remember, well, in junior high, in 7th grade, like the ideal awkward age grade, I remember writing like a Doom fan fiction story for a class.
Oh, nice.
Then I had to read it to the class.
Oh,
and
dude.
I remember just thinking, like being like halfway through the story and just thinking like I think I'm dying inside. Like this is I don't want to read this to people. I
had exactly that. Oh my god, it's the worst feeling in the whole world, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, not good at all.
Oh no, it's awful. Did I tell you this? Where I had to read out a comic to the class.
Mm-hmm. No, oh yes. I think that was before though. I don't like you had. Wait, you gotta go back to that story.
Okay.
I can't remember the.
I'll tell it briefly because I think a lot of people might have heard it before. But basically, when I was about 7, maybe it was in primary school, I wrote a series of comic books called Tomb Hunter. I believe. Which then a TV show came out with a show called Tomb Hunter. Screw you. So I had a series called Tomb Hunter where the lead character was Louise Action. And it was literally a rip-off. Yeah, Louise Action. She was the best. It was literally a rip-off of Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, but with magical animal beasts as her companions. And I loved this series. I was convinced it was going to be the best thing in the world. And I legit made comic books. They're like genuine, like they're curled up, stapled, everything. I even made an anthology of the entire series that described what had happened in the series and showed concept art of each of the characters.
It's like, oh, you're so deeply invested in it, you know? It was kind of thing like, even if the teacher isn't on board with your idea, you know, they're sitting back there like, well, you know, well, more power to her. She went all the way on this one, you know?
Look, I didn't go outside very much and didn't have many friends, so this is how I spent my time. So I made this entire comic book series, and my teacher, oh my god, she was an angel. Her name was Miss Tuthill, and she was an absolute angel. And she was so encouraging of this, and she was like, okay, next week I want you to come to class and do a presentation on your comic book series. And she was really encouraging me, and I was so excited. I was like, okay. So the idea of the presentation was I was just going to talk about, like, I guess 7-year-old me's tiny baby language of, like, my process of making a comic book and, like, making artwork and trying to encourage people to do it, right? That was all it was supposed to be. It was just supposed to be a, like, show and tell of the little comic books, and, like, you guys can do this too, right? Well, that next week, she was off sick, and we had a substitute teacher in, and she had my name written down for show and tell, and I was like, I don't want to do show and tell if my favorite teacher isn't here. She was like, no, you're doing show and tell. So she made me go up, and she said, yeah, you have to read the comic books to the class. It's like,
oh my god.
I was the most, like, good little thing. I could not say no. But in my head, all I'm thinking is, how do you read a comic book to a class of people? How do you do that? It's all about the artwork and, like how... Yeah. Pow, crash, bang. Like, what do you do, right?
And then in this picture, you'll notice that she is shooting at the...
Yeah, dude, I stood there with this, like, A4 paper cut in half as my little comic book and literally read it out word for word.
Trying to hide behind it.
Yeah, with none of the words visible. To this day, I distinctly have burned into my mind of seeing the kid in the front of the class falling asleep in front of me. And I will never, ever get rid of that. Age 7. That was my first foray into comics, and now I do it as a job. Bloody hell.
That's so awesome. It's just the horror, just the kid just, like, totally not on board. Well, at least if he's asleep, it's harder to see his face, you know?
Oh, it was a girl, and I could definitely see her face. She was not impressed.
Like, I could see it. You're like, I think I could even see what she was dreaming at that point.
Yeah, it's like I was dying. I could feel myself straight up dying. The hilarious thing is that I think the next year, myself and my best friend, who was the Stargate fan, we did a presentation together, and I feel like it was my first training for this show, right? Because we did the presentation on the comic books. We did it the way that I had wanted to do it to begin with. It was talking about making comic books and trying to get people to make artwork, right? That was what it was about. And it was about telling stories about all the different characters and just discussing it, right? Mm. But you will appreciate this. I really do think it was training for this show, right? So, like, last season, like, Artist Lounge, right? So we are standing at the front of the class, and we've practiced this. He's been coming around my house, like, every other day, and we've been, like, on the one hand running around shooting each other with fake guns, and then on the other hand sitting there and practicing our little speeches.
Right.
And we're standing at the front of the class, and I'm trying to talk really well, and I'm trying to, like, describe everything that's happening and try and get across my feelings. I'm trying really hard to be as well spoken as I can, and my best friend is annoying the hell out of me by, like, just tossing him around and being like a complete joker. It went down as such a hit. The two of us, like, me super focused and him just a laugh, and us, like, spinning around and throwing the comic books at each other and stuff. Oh my god, the class loved it. It was amazing, and it, like, it rescued me from that last one. And I feel like when we started doing the Artist Lounge, and it was like me trying to be really serious and trying to get everything right and be on at the right time, and then you're like cutting me off and stuff, I was like, oh, it's like nostalgia.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know. Maybe that should have come back this season. Just the ability to ruin every single intro.
Yeah, you've had that power taken away from you because now you run everything.
Well, now I have to make the intro, so I'd just be ruining my own intro. It's just not the same. It's just, it's like the forced gag. It's not as funny when you fall on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it's not
man.
funny when you put the banana skin in front of yourself.
I think I feel more comfortable doing presentations in front of people now. It's always that thing where the first couple minutes, it's like, oh, I hate this. But then, like, once you're kind of in a rhythm, it gets easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have to do many presentations. I only remember once there was like a.
Wait, did you not do presentations at school then?
Yeah, I mean, we did. I remember that we had little tricks. I did one with my friend Bob, and I don't remember what it was about. I think it might have been about like animal cells or something, like chloroplasts and.
Oh right, yeah.
Or whatever, and
Nucleus.
yeah, and nucleus
and
mitochondria. And I remember the teacher said this thing where you have to like, you have to be sure to keep everyone engaged. How you do it? So we did it where like we juggled the whole presentation, and then every time we said like ribosome or something, we had to do a trick. And so that was our attempt, and it made it so much harder to talk. Like,
yeah,
but that was good practice for this show.
Yeah,
having
to the whole time.
to have a conversation casually while juggling, 4 different screens, multiple cameras, and then making a drawing at the same time. And so that was that. And then I remember in that same class we did get a good response on another presentation. I don't even remember what it was about, but it was about I don't know, smoking or or whatever the thing was.
Right,
but a side effect was I saw in the book, we had like a board drawn of like a little guy, and then we had to like label where the side effects would be on him. Like classic like medical drawing, guy head to the side, and then one of the side effects was shriveled testicles, and so we glued 2 raisins to it. And I remember that went over really well with 8th graders, because nothing else was 3-dimensional on the board. That's what we thought made it so much funnier. It's like everything's all serious, and there's just this 2.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the teacher seemed pretty. It was just like, she was pretty chill though. She was awesome. She actually just like let us like not go to class a lot, which was unheard of in that high school. Usually in junior high. Usually they never let you go anywhere. Oh yeah, and then she she would just let us, like, we'd go like, hey, we're gonna go here and get some slices of bread. You want some? She's like, sure, and get me a cup of coffee. We'd just miss half the class and then come back, and she didn't. It's so weird in hindsight how she let us do that.
I complained to the head of my school because of a teacher
doing that.
But
like letting people leave class?
No, she just wouldn't show up to class, and I was like,
well, that's different. And this is junior high. If this was in like, if I was in college or something, I'd be upset.
Oh, right, yeah, mine was in like college.
Yeah, then I'm upset because you're paying for the class and everything. In junior high, you're just trying to survive. You're trying to get away from people as much as possible.
Right. Yeah.
So I was pretty good at that.
I did have one presentation in school that I feel like may have traumatized people, and I'm quite proud of that. We had to do presentations on World War One, and we were each given like a different subject to talk about, and mine was conditions in the trenches. When I do presentations, I like to have something physical to show, because people don't realize this, but I'm a very introverted human being. Like, my friends from old school don't recognize me anymore because they're like, oh my god, you can talk, and it's like, apparently. But it means that I have something sort of to put myself into, if that makes sense. Like, I can direct the attention towards the thing, whether it's like a display behind me or it's my book or whatever. I let, quote, the art talk for itself. I'd rather whatever I'm discussing go through it rather than directly through me. I get worried when everyone's just sitting there staring directly at me.
Right.
So for my World War One conditions in the trenches, I made a demonstration of trench foot. That's
horrific.
I made a 3D model of a foot, and then set up a bye-bye Waffle and Bear. I set up a little contraption that meant that as I was talking about the effects of trench foot, it would fill with different coloured dyes, and it then, to the point where it would then turn completely black all the way through. Oh my god, it was amazing.
That sounds so awesome.
Oh yeah, dude, it was epic. And then I had another one for geography. I didn't show up to a single geography class. I missed like 3 classes and then got ill, and I was ill for like several months, and then I had to come back to it and just didn't go to any of my geography classes for some dumb reason.
Wow.
I think I just went to like art classes instead or something. I don't know. I'm not even sure what I did. I distinctly remember that there was an entire year when I didn't go to geography. But the final thing I had to do for geography was to do a presentation for it. So again, I was like, right, well, I'm going to make it a big one because they've not seen me the whole year. So, and I made an entire, I can't even remember what it was for. I think it was for topography of the UK.
Right.
And I made an entire model, like enormous, like that big, Warhammer style of the English countryside.
Oh, nice.
And like made it so that water would like fill up in different places to talk about the water cycle and stuff like that, and I got like the best score in the whole class.
Oh, everyone probably hated you for that. What did you use to make it? Did you get all like the little ballast for the rocks and use cut polystyrene? Because I remember making Warhammer terrain. I had a junior high. I remember doing that with friends as well.
Yeah, I don't know if when you did it you ever used. We had like we used this sort of foam that I think is actually used in construction. I think it's used for like insulation and stuff like that. But we got that
the blue foam?
The blue foam, yeah,
yep.
The blue foam.
Right.
I don't know what it's called, but I carved that into like rocks and stuff, and I also melted plastic over the stove to create like formations.
Oh wow, I didn't melt plastic. Yeah, you went all out on that.
I was a kid, right, and I worked pretty freaking hard.
Of course, then again, you're also melting plastic indoors. It's like that's probably inhaling so much.
Probably not good enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a thing at school about melting plastic. That was like a thing. We would sit because we had science labs in our school.
Right.
So every time we had science class, it would be in the science labs, which have like gas taps at every station. So wherever you're seated, there's a gas tap there. And people would plug Bunsen burners in and then put their pens over it and melt it and make weird like designs out of their pens, and it would annoy the teachers so much. They were like, "What are you doing?" We had quite a famous story of one of the teachers trying to show off a science experiment, and everyone kept egging him on to add more of this thing. I can't remember what it was anymore. I'm sure someone can guess, but someone kept convincing him to add more of this chemical, and he was like, I really shouldn't. They're like, oh please sir. So he did it, and there's now an enormous scorch mark across the roof of one of the one of the classrooms where it just exploded.
It's good to leave that kind of influence. I think I had mentioned it before where I remember in class, like what I had learned from California is the thing how to like flick bread clips. So you guys, I don't know if that ever got out there. We had those little plastic bread clips, and if you like hook, they're like a little hook thing, and if you break off one side, you can stick it to your finger and you flick it, and it just goes so far. And
what are you on about? What?
Oh, I have to probably bring up a picture. Hold on one sec. I'll make this easier with the photo.
Clips.
Bread clip. There's probably a YouTube video about how to do it. Boom. Visit page.
Oh, is it these little
man who accidentally swallowed bread bag clips spent 2 months in agony? What? That's not what I wanted.
What?
If you Google plastic bread clip, you'll see it.
Is it these little square things with a hole in?
Yeah, you break off one of the tabs and then it hooks onto your finger, right? And then and then you have it so the short side of the hook is on your right under your fingernail and the big side of the clip is behind it. And then you flick it, and it would blow your mind how far that thing will go. Like, it will shoot across the room faster than the eye can see. And
oh my God.
I introduced that to to my junior high, because I remember learning it when I was still in California, and it was one of those things that like kind of like took over the school where suddenly everyone was doing it, and I knew it hit a certain kind of point because like during an assembly, like a dance recital assembly thing, the people were dancing, and then all these like bread clips started like flying onto the stage, and then the principal had to get on the intercom and be amazing. Like, "Don't flick bread clips at the dancers," and I was just like, "Whoa, it reached that point."
Whoa, I can't believe it got to that scale. We had a thing with staple guns. Do you have you used a staple gun before?
Yeah, like the actual, like you would stretch a canvas with the staple gun kind of staple gun?
Yes, yeah. But it like fires it, right? I hated my form class. There were a few people in it who I liked, but I don't know if you have form classes. They were like the place that you go to have your register taken. And everyone goes to their form class, and it has like 30 people in it. It feels like a normal class, but it's right after lunch, and you just right at the beginning of the day, and you go there to have a place where you get your register taken. There were form classes that did other stuff, but ours didn't. Ours gave no shits. And our teachers could not control our form class. My form class was filled with a lot of people who were quite rowdy and quite, I don't know how to describe it. They were quite troublesome.
And they'll feed off each other. Like everyone's like, it becomes a group.
The moment one starts, it gets worse and worse and worse. And like, I'd never been around that before. I'd always been around the people who were the most good that could be, and if anyone was deemed to be outside that, they would be kind of questioned and be told, "What the hell are you doing? We're here to learn. What are you doing?" So I wasn't used to it, and I had to go to this class every day, twice a day. And we had good people in the class, but obviously all of us quote good people were really quiet. So we would just like hide in the corners of the class and barely talk and draw and try and get out as fast as possible. And we had one day where they found staple guns, and all I remember is hiding under the desk as staples flew across my head. And someone just screamed as it like pierced their skin, and our teacher was nowhere to be found. And it was just like, what happened? I was told this was one of the best art schools in the UK. What's happened?
I think that's pretty much a sign that it's an official art school, you know? Because there's no way you put a bunch of, artists like that in a room and then they're not going to just go bonkers.
Oh, it was...
That's what they're supposed to do.
I feel like if I could go back now that I've grown up a bit, I think I would have found it a lot more fun, and I would have joined in a lot more with people.
Oh, I would have been.
But then all I cared about was finishing school and getting to America. That was my entire focus. So I didn't have the time.
Oh, man. Yeah, if we go back in time, all that would have been is... I have, like, my regret about school is, like, I wish I was a worse student. That's my genuine, like, regret, is I was like, I should...
I feel like that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, in a very specific way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I want to have been a worse student. I'm proud of how hard I worked. And although it didn't all come to fruition, and I did get very poor grades at the end of it, I am glad that I worked so hard, and I worked as hard as I could. But I do wish I could have gone back. Even if I could go back now and speak to the version of myself and tell myself, pay more attention to what you are learning in class and not the grades you're trying to get.
Yeah.
Because it hurt me so much when I didn't get those grades. When I poured everything I had, and I had always been the person who poured everything that she had into her work.
Right.
And I walked away with C's, which for a lot of people would be very good, but for me, I'd had A stars every year, and it hurt me a lot because that was me saying goodbye to my dreams as far as I knew. It was like, I'll never be an artist now because I can't go to the American school I'm supposed to be going to, and I can't study this, and I can't do that, and my boyfriend broke up with me, and the world just seemed like a mess. And I wish I could have gone back and said, make sure you look after yourself as a human being first before you fight for your grades. Don't give up all of your sleep for it. Don't give up all of your friendships because you have that extra piece of homework you have to get done. I don't wish that I were a worse student, but I wish that I had been I wish that I'd been a healthier person.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, it totally does. I was in that same thing,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I like, when I think back to school, all I think about is, like, my friends, and then the fun we had. And then I think about just how, like, stressful a lot of it was, because I always wanted to be a good student, you know? And in the end, it's like I should have spent less time on subjects that weren't that important to me and more time on my art. Because the other thing is I knew I wanted to be an artist. So that's a big part of it. Like, if I didn't know what I wanted to be, then it's much more helpful to get really good grades, because then those can apply to different fields. But when you're an artist, the most important thing you're going to have, you just need presentable grades, but the most important thing you're going to have is your portfolio, and then, like, how much you're in a community. Like, are you making a community or a scene or things going on? Like, are you know what I mean? Like, you have to be, as an artist, to a certain degree, if you're not building kind of a social force, you need to at least have an awareness of culture. And, you know, I didn't really get that until, like, the end of college, you know? And so I could have gotten a jump start on it, but, you know, whatever. Because also, in the same time, I ended up not really being able to even go to the school that I wanted to. It was like, didn't really matter.
Same.
It doesn't matter what your grades are if you didn't have money. So it was just like...
That's exactly what it was for me. Yeah. It was like, I got the place at the School of Visual Arts in New York, but I couldn't go because I didn't get the scholarship. And even if I had gotten the full scholarship, I still wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. It's like, got the scholarship, and it's like, oh wait, it doesn't matter. I still can't. Like,
yeah, and it's like, I think that really crushed me for several years. Like, I didn't function as a human being for about a year because it was like, it was like, everyone tells you if you work so hard, it will happen. Like, if you work so hard, your dreams will happen. And I do believe that.
Yeah.
But I believe that it isn't as immediate as one would expect. I think you can work as hard as physically possible and life still let you down, and that's okay because that's just life.
Yeah.
That just happened. And I think it's important to be taught that, because I wish someone had told me to just pay attention to what I was physically learning in school, to not just try and absorb stuff as fast as possible for exam, and instead just absorb it because I wanted to be a better person. When someone comes around to your house and they say, hey, do you want to go hang out? And you say, no, I'm working, and it's the only time everyone's ever come around to your house to ask you out, and it's like, why did I say no?
Right.
Like, that homework didn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't even know what that homework was, but I remember saying no to a friend asking me to hang out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think kids in this country, and I'm sure in your country as well, but I know it's very strong in this country, have a lot of pressure on them. A lot of pressure. And it gets more and more. I mean, we were a fast-tracked year. So I had 14 GCSEs by the time I'd finished secondary school. And that was hard work. And I know that they're now being pushed towards getting 16 or 20 GCSEs. And it's just like, it's just raw numbers being shoved at you. It's just like, pour as much of your physical being as you can in. And working hard is important. And it teaches you a lot. But not at the expense of your physical or mental health. And I wish that were taught more.
Yeah. I think there's schools tend to like the way to work with numbers and grades and whatnot because it's measurable. So they can say it's kind of it's politicized, so they could say this is a measured improvement in this. That's why we had the big controversial No Child Left Behind out here. And but what was happening is people weren't learning how to like apply their education anywhere. They were only learning how to apply it to a test, and not to realizing that education could be used in many more aspects of life. Oh yeah, we probably should draw Now that
Yeah.
hours gone by and haven't even started drawing, you know. But you know what? That's just part of the experience. So
honestly, I'm not in the mood to go ham on drawing today, so I'm having like a therapy couple of hours because I'm stressed and I've worked too hard and it's been a weird day. So I'm not even that bothered if I finish my artwork today. I'm gonna enjoy the fact that art is happening.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal that I'm feeling too. This is very much as people saw in the post, this is a very much, hey, let's just all hang out a bit. Today we'll make some art and yep.
Yeah.
There are still people learning those work-life balance lessons outside of school too. As
yeah,
Greg was
sure
mentioning, yeah, it's absolutely the case. And that's the thing that's a really hard balance because that's a thing that can happen even in school and you focus too much on that and not your life. And then because I had that exact instance when I was like starting the gallery in Oakland with my friends. I did a horrible job balancing my work and leisure and creativity, and it though things were getting accomplished, it was making me just an absolutely miserable person.
Well, the thing is, if you aren't taught that harsh lesson in school, the next place you get taught it is in the workplace.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I mean, and that's the thing is you might. I don't know. I think it's the way we measure accomplishments, And I remember even thinking, because I had that same thing. To me, it was like I need to. For you, it was getting to the U.S. and art school. And for me, it was like get the hell out of Utah, and it was so funny because in the end, in my case, I didn't need to per se get out of Utah. I mean, it helped me get out here and do my thing and grow in that regard. But the whole time could have just been making an art scene in Utah that was happening and building. And it was like, and especially when something's on such like a ground level, in expanding, that's like one of the best situations, you can be in when it comes to art, because you get in really tight with the community and it's really inspiring.
I think the thing is, as a kid, you just don't know, don't you? You just have to do the best that you.
And you didn't have access to it because it's harder to get to. I think about how much of the things of my experiences were limited, just simply on the fact that I couldn't get there. They were too far away. I physically couldn't get myself to them. It's like I remember, it's funny because out here in the Bay Area, being able to drive is not that big of a deal, but I remember when I got my driver's license in Salt Lake, that's you would celebrate your 16th birthday by going to the DMV and getting your license. It was one of the most important things that happens to you in your life is getting your driver's license, because it's you finally can get around, because everything's so far away and the buses would take forever and they were only one every half hour, or if it was Saturday it was one bus every hour and they didn't run on Sundays. So getting your driver's license was so important, I don't know. And I think a lot of it was just restriction of access, and it was harder to culturally be aware. And I mean, a lot of this was before the internet was really what it became, so it's it was harder to know about things if you weren't there. If you weren't in that, if there was something cool happening in this part of the city or this neighborhood, you wouldn't know, because you'd have no idea of knowing it was going on.
Yeah.
If you couldn't physically get there.
Yeah, the amount of stuff that I've learned is going on in my local area now.
Yeah.
That I had no idea about when it would have been massively helpful to me as a growing artist is kind of insane.
To a certain degree, it's still helpful to just aimlessly wander and just run into things, and just see stuff. I still feel like I don't do that as much anymore as I should. I do too much research first. I don't let myself just be because that's what it used to be, even with friends, is you would just drive somewhere. You get on a bus and you would just be like, let's go to this. I remember, because to me a big window was skateboarding, because you're always looking for skate spots. So it'd be you just get on the bus, and then you would just wait until you're somewhere where there's buildings, and you just get off, and you just start looking around, like, what's behind this building?
Oh my god, that's so insane to me.
Yeah, that's what it is. We would just get on the bus, we'd sit on it for a while, and then when we were in a place we didn't know, we'd just get off and then start looking for, stairs, stairs, curbs. I couldn't skate rails then, but hips and anything to skate on. And it's like you learn that city inside and out, It's like where every building is and you know what's behind it. But it's like, I love that. And then when you got your license, that's like, why road trips suddenly became so important, because you're just doing that in a later adult version. Like, we would just get in the car and you just start driving. You didn't know where the roads went or what. And then, and when you're in places like that, it's harder to get lost, because, like, especially if you're driving out in small towns, more than likely there's going to be one highway. So you know where it is. You don't get lost, but you just start exploring.
A little bit different to the UK.
Yeah, it's literally the one highway. When you're just like in Utah, Nevada, and all that. But I don't know. You can only really get kind of lost when you're in cities and whatnot. You get a little turned around, but if you're like kind of out on the road, everything suddenly does kind of become just north, south, east, west. And roads are designed to take you to places. It's not like they have a bunch of roads that end like a maze where you drive out into like maybe if you're going through mountain passes or something, but for the most part, roads just aren't built to go into the middle of nowhere then just stop at nothing for no reason, Except mountain passes. Those definitely do that. Looks like there was a really interesting thing here going on in the chat, and I was going back to see where to read it.
Yeah, I was chatting to that girl explain. I was listening to you, don't worry.
No, I'm not. How could you?
Why are you ignoring me? No, I was chatting to that girl explain because she's been through the UK education system.
Oh.
And
your education system has a lot of abbreviations and letters.
Yes.
Strings
GCSE.
of
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what any of those are. RE, ICT.
Oh,
GCSE.
RE is religious education.
Oh.
ICT is information computer technology. Is that right?
Right.
But it's computers. It's IT.
It's a good class to have.
Yeah, we were talking about how it's interesting. This annoyed me. This annoyed me in school. Different schools learn different sets of GCSEs, which I guess kind of makes sense. But so, for example, I was given the opportunity to do applied art as well as art and design. Art and design was like, we're going to study Liechtenstein today. And then you'd sit there and you'd read about Liechtenstein, and then you'd paint a picture in the style of Liechtenstein. It was a waste of my bloody life. And then, because they never taught you anything, they just made you copy artists, but not even as master copies. It was like, this is Liechtenstein. Now do a self-portrait in the style of Liechtenstein. It's like, why? What's the point? What do I learn from this? Nothing. I was never taught the fundamentals of art. I was never... just a waste of time. And then we had applied art, which I did like.
Right.
Which was working to a brief. It was art as a business. It was, you have been contacted by the Olympic Games. They would like a art feature of some kind to represent the UK at the London Olympic Games. Like, it was that kind of thing. And you'd be given a brief, and you would have to work to said brief to impress the client. Right. It was so good. It was like really good training for being an artist in the real world. No, I disagree. That Galaxy, I mean, I can't really disagree because you probably had a different ICT to me, but that Galaxy says ICT is just how to use Microsoft Excel. I actually had a very good ICT education.
I'd like to also quickly add, Microsoft Excel's pretty freaking awesome.
True, it is. It's
I love that program.
My most used of the Microsoft programs in my business. But yeah, we I did animation in ICT as well. I did 3D and 2D animation for video games. I did this weird thing where you made like roller coasters that worked.
Oh my god!
Like you would have loved it. It was all about the science behind the computers that work roller coasters, and you had to create a program that would run a roller coaster safely and protect all the people on board and stuff like that.
You guys had roller coaster and Microsoft Excel classes, and meanwhile, when I was in school, it was how to use a typewriter. Unbelievable.
See, that's
unbelievable.
Holy shit. No, but that's what I find interesting, because That Girl Explain seems to have had very different experience to me. Although I believe she's in Ireland. I'm not sure if it's Ireland or Northern Ireland. RE was compulsory. Yeah, RE was compulsory for us as well. Worst thing ever, our teacher was extremely biased. Yeah, we had that. Closest we got was computing, which was basic coding. We never had anything like that. We didn't have coding. Although I believe we had the option to go ahead and learn it, but it was like an extracurricular. I was too busy doing art to be able to focus on that. Northern Ireland, okay. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. I find it interesting to see how different groups in the same like world learn, if that makes sense. It makes me wonder how it affects people when they grow up. Like, sometimes I find myself wondering, like, what are the big differences between the UK and America, and why are they like that, and how do our different temperaments change, and how does that affect how we treat policies and stuff? I don't know. It's just something that I have no, like, personal agenda against or for or whatever. It's just something that intrigues me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That Girl Explained. My art and design was very different. We didn't look at other artists until we got to the very end, and then we weren't allowed to copy them.
Huh.
Interesting, because my entire art education at school was copying artists, and it was, like, not useful copying. It wasn't like master studies. It was like, here's a little bit of information about Van Gogh. Now paint a picture in the style of Van Gogh. That was every single lesson.
Right. That was
It was about developing an idea from a theme. See, that's what A-level... No. Yeah, that's what A-level art was for us. And it was so hard for me because I've never done anything like it. So for A-level art, that's where I had a not amazing teacher. I had a great teacher afterwards for A-level art, but my first teacher was not... She was a nice human being, but I could have done with another teacher, and I kicked up quite a storm for it and got some bullshit in return, like usual. Basically, I made a complaint about the teacher that I had, and I said she's a lovely human being. I really like chatting to her and hanging out with her, but she is not teaching my class. And I was like, this is my entire career, and I need these A-levels, and I'm failing, and I need the help. And I essentially got accused of wanting all male staff as my teachers. And I was like,
that is... That's like next level.
Just bloody go there. Because I had all male teachers for the rest of it, and I'd asked for a male teacher to replace her. Not because he was a male teacher, but because he had been bloody saving my ass, because he taught the class next to me and would walk in seeing me laying on the desk crying because I didn't know what I was supposed to do and was watching my entire career fall down the drain. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not bloody okay. And he's like, and he would just sit there and he would go, okay, let's work through this. And he just sat there and dealt with me crying my goddamn eyes out as we looked through my work and tried to figure out what we had to do. She didn't even give me the mark scheme. I don't know if this is a thing in America, but in the UK, it's... Okay, it's not a thing in America. In the UK, it's expected that you receive the mark scheme so you can work to it. So the mark scheme is, it is a... it's kind of like guidelines on how to get certain grades. So it's like you will receive a C if you do minimum this. You will receive a B if you do minimum this. You will receive an A if you are exemplary in these like things. And they had very specific criteria that you had to tick off, and you had that for every single class. Every class I'd ever had in my entire schooling, even primary school, I'd been given a mark scheme. But for art, I was not given one. Mm-hmm. And I was very upset about it because I was basically told, your theme is the 7 deadly sins. Good luck, and then walk away, and then never see my teacher again. And it's like, how do I get an A? I don't give a shit about making a fancy art piece. I care about getting an A.
No.
Like, I know that's not the point of art, but I had to get into university, or at least I thought I did. It was my entire career, and I could do that for every single class, but I couldn't do it for art. And it broke my goddamn heart that I couldn't do that for art. And my teacher would literally say, like, that they had to go. And they would just leave, and they would never come back. They would not come back for the entire lesson. I had one other student in my class who was a year above me, and he would just say to me, this is ridiculous. And we would just sit there not knowing what to do. And he's like, he'd already moved from another school to this one.
Oh my God.
Because he'd had a bad experience at his school and not gotten the education he wanted. So he'd moved to this one to try and get a better education. He ended up quitting. He went on to move into a completely different career, which he's bloody amazing at. Oh my God, quick. We learnt drawing fundamentals and things like that. Fucking hell, I wish I'd learned that.
Bloody that's hell. How my art school was.
I wish I had learnt what the fundamentals of art were when I was in school. Every time I speak to anyone who's gone through GCSE art, they're like, oh, how can I improve my artwork? And they walk up to me at like a show and they're like showing me their portfolio, and I look at it and I'm like, you don't know anatomy, and you don't know values, and you don't know composition. It's like, oh my God. And I just turn to them and I go, do you know what the fundamentals of art are? Not a single one has ever said yes to me. And the only ones who have ever said yes to me have immediately said, could you just explain that to me, please? Like, yeah. They just don't want to know that they don't know what it is. And then I have to stand there and explain to every single kid in this country who wants to do this as a bloody career what composition, anatomy, values, like, why are we not taught that in art school? If I could be taught anything in art school, hell, I know they say, well, in school here in the UK who are doing art, you're not actually learning art to become an artist, you're learning art so that you can work in a gallery or something. The gallery artist still needs to know what bloody fundamentals of art are. Everyone who works in art needs to know what the fundamentals of art are. Even if they don't know it as that particular catch term, they know what the individuals are, and they know how to apply them. And I can't. It annoys me so bloody much.
It hurts me to hear, because that's the direction that a lot of the U.S. art schools are going, because the demand of the contemporary art market is very much business-minded, conceptual, and social, and less based on artist skill set. It's right. More like, how good are you at networking, more than how good are you at drawing or painting. And the schools know that, and so they invest in the conceptual aspect of art very highly, because that's what's going to bring the most return to their school's name. They can establish themselves as a more valuable brand. That's why everything tends to look like... Because, like, I remember in the school I was in, and then I think I always use the California College of Art out here as an example nearby, because they have their undergraduate campus, which was very much focused on the fundamentals. And that is, if you go to that campus, it's like kind of how you picture an art school looking in that regard. And then at their graduate school campus in San Francisco, where they're actually moving everything, they're closing the other campus. It is the thing where it's like a big airplane hangar or something divided up. It looks like a kind of an art. It looks pretty much like where you'd hold a contemporary art fair, you know, because that's the more kind of valuable brand. And then they kind of use that argument, well, by the time you're in graduate school, you should already have your skill set, you know, ready to go, and you should be working on like your kind of conceptual body of work. And
God, we have this dumbass thing in the UK that's kind of like that. We have this thing called the foundation year. So if you want to be an artist in the UK, you do art from year 7 to year 11 in school.
right.
And learn nothing. And then you come out of that and go to sixth form college and do A-level art and learn nothing. And then you leave that, and because they realise you've learned nothing about being an actual artist, they send you to something called a foundation year, which is 1 year that you must do mandatory, regardless of what knowledge or education you have, right before university. So you're delayed from university, where you sit in this bloody university room and they make you try out all the materials again, and they're like, oh, look, in this year you get to discover what you want to do, and they start trying to teach you the fundamentals. I don't even think they all do teach you the fundamentals. You have to find the right one that does.
Right.
Oh, it's so dumb. And it's like, it's as if they're starting you from scratch, but it's because they know that you didn't learn anything in school. Like, you learn stuff, but it's not applicable stuff. It's like, I know, when Van Gogh died, it's like, that doesn't help you.
Yeah, that's not
help
gonna
you paint a painting.
That's not going to make the art better. So then you do all of that
before you even get to start at university. And it's like, oh my God. If you did the foundation, you got in the course without an interview. Is that true?
Wow.
I just wanted to do animation, but I was terrified of the interview.
Huh.
Quit. I went to state school in California. The only basics we had to do were basic drawing, basic painting, 2D design, and 3D design. From there, you choose your speciality: animation, illustration, fine art, sculpture. This wasn't a specific art school, just the art department.
Yeah, that was it. That was my exact experience too. It was the same thing.
State school, is that the equivalent of university for me, or what level is that? It's
like you go to like it's the level of just like undergraduate degree, like in that case, if you went to that school, it would be, you would get like a bachelor's in fine art or whatever.
Because in the UK we have something very different to you guys. A lot of your schools don't.
But you can go to graduate school in state schools. It's kind of like you have it's just a different type of college, pretty much.
Right. As far as I'm aware, a lot of American schools don't specialise at the same time as the UK ones do. So it is our understanding that by the time you're 18, you've learned everything you need to know for life. You are now learning your specialism for your career, right?
Right.
So, but in America, because the only reason I know this is because I was applying to American schools, and you guys have bullshit that happens that makes applying to American schools very hard, where your universities still teach you subjects like history and RE and IT and shit like that.
Yep.
Whereas we've already finished that. We've done all of that. We've worked our bloody asses off. We know all of it. I mean, we don't know all of it, but we've worked our ass off doing history and English and math and science. Yeah. And then we go to university as a specific specialism. So it's like, okay, you are learning physics, or you are learning law history, right? Or you are learning art history. Like, it's a thing that you learn.
Well,
whereas in America, you guys have the thing that you major in. As far as I know, you have the thing that you major in, and then you have all the little classes that you have to do around it.
The associate's degree, your general ed classes. And the thing is I think the reason that happens out here is, one, because yay, more money, but also a lot of people when they go to college out here, they're out of high school, they're going just because they know they're supposed to. They know they're supposed to go to college. Like, that's the idea. That's like what you're taught, is you go your higher education now. But a lot of people will go to school and they'll be undeclared. They won't know what they want to major in. They won't know. So our system was designed around the idea that you're supposed to just continue with school even if you're not sure what you actually want to be studying.
Right.
So that's why then I think they also that has that into that regard, because it kind of it still is an exploration, you know. But I think mostly at this point that it's probably just kind of profit driven.
I mean, you're paying so much money. Why would you just auto go there? Like, that seems mad to me.
Oh yeah,
it made sense in the UK because we didn't pay anything, so it's like you auto go there. Like that's just what you do, and yet we still massively specialized. But it was so weird to me because I was applying to American schools and I had to prove that I'd done all the classes that you guys would have made me do again. Right. It was like, it was having to like gather all of my different, basically our GCSEs cover within E's those classes. So if you have a history GCSE, you do not have to do any history lessons at an American school if you are transferring across. So I had to like gather up all my 14 GCSEs and be like, I have done RE, IT, English, history, like science,
Yeah.
And so that I could get rid of all of those classes and only do the art that I wanted to do and spend all of my time just on art.
I had
which was
a
so
similar
weird.
thing. Because we have our AP classes. You can take advanced placement classes in high school and that counts for college credit.
Right.
So that's like I had a bunch of those. That's how I was able to. I did that in one summer semester. And that's how I graduated in 3 years instead of 4.
That makes sense. I've heard about that on TV programs.
Yeah. Well, and then it was just funny because like my actual motivation to do is I just didn't like school, so I was like I want to get through it. It's like, this is good to have this opportunity, but I really don't like. I just never really liked school.
Yeah.
I did fine, so I just wanted to get out of it and. So fortunately there was that. But yeah, so we do kind of have a thing where you can do that to not have to take as many classes, but yeah, they still kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's also a lot of it's compensating for a public education system that is very subpar.
I don't really know much about that.
It had a lot of
I don't know much about anything pre-uni in America.
It's it could use a lot of work. A lot of funding gets cut, and so
yeah, we're starting to see that over here.
Yeah. This drawing's going horribly. Oh god. I'm not doing it right. I keep focusing on details. I keep drawing just specific details instead of like laying in the drawing, you know? I'm doing the...
Is that like the mood that you're in?
Yeah, I'm sure that's
I find that if I'm in a certain mood, I just...
If I'm not in a good mood, I can't make art worth shit. If I'm in like a bad mood, I don't... it's just a struggle, and I make the same mistake.
Some people thrive off of that.
Oh, I don't know how they do it.
No, I don't know.
If I'm not inspired or I'm not feeling it, my art just goes so to shit. And I make the same mistake every time, which is I jump too quickly to details. I don't lay everything in first. It's like I already did it here, and
no big brushes, all of that jazz.
Yeah, oh god, I just hate how this drawing's looking already. I mean, I'm gonna go with it and. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I can pull it together. But if not, it's totally getting funished.
A very lovely photograph, though.
Yeah, it's a great photo.
I've been in a very oddly inspired mood recently. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I've been in such a good mood, even though the world is an odd mess at the moment.
Yeah.
I wanted to share something with you guys. So do you remember last week I was saying I was going to be part of a charity live stream?
Yes.
I want to just bring this down. Look at that, guys.
Wait, let me make sure. Let's go to the big screen.
Look at that.
133%.
Yeah, £400 of a target of 300. So
that's great. Congratulations.
Our game changers worked so bloody hard. There's the finished little anime characters that I started last week of all of us. I have one more to do, but yeah, there's them. There's me as Link from Legend of Zelda. We worked our bloody asses off. It was such good fun. For those who don't know, who weren't here last week, my boyfriend, D, there's his little name, there he is in the middle, he set up a thing for his birthday where he would run a 24-hour gaming session. This was for Macmillan Cancer Support. It's as part of a program called the Game Changers, and the idea is that you try and finish as many video games as possible within 24 hours to kind of represent everyone around the world fighting the battle of cancer. And it's supposed to represent getting over those demons, is getting over the bosses, finishing levels, is finishing like different stages of relief, and trying to beat the cancer or the enemy or whatever it is in your game. We finished 30 games in 24 hours, and we had so many people over here. It was really quite amazing to see. I've not seen something like that before. I know there's so many amazing events that go on, but I've not been directly involved with something like that before, and it was just so amazing to see so many people just really trying to fight through it, because it got to a point where it was like, I think it was like 4 a.m. where people started to like really start to fall asleep, and they're like, oh my god, how do I keep going? It's like, I just have 100 more fights to go, or I just have like 3 more levels to go. And it was just like everyone trying to keep each other going, handing out cake and stuff, and I don't know, it was so fun. So if anyone ever gets the chance to do something like that, I'd really encourage it. If anyone wants to donate still or watch the streams, I believe the recordings are on my Twitch channel, which is at twitch.tv/agamerdraws. I believe they're on there. I haven't massively checked because I've been so tired since the weekend. I finished Ocarina of Time in 26 hours, which I'm quite proud of, to be honest. It wasn't within the 24 hours, but they counted it because I was the one running back and forth managing the streams. They were like, if you were not doing that, you might have actually gotten it during the time. So they counted it as one of the 30 games.
Right.
Like, Legend of Zelda is like a 60-hour game, so I was so happy with that. Like, I worked so hard, and everyone was like cheering me on. They were like, you can do it! Like, I had these bosses, like, when I was like, I was fighting like one of the last bosses that everyone saw, and everyone was like, have you beaten him yet? And I'm like, I'm trying. It was so fun. And then people had like Parappa the Rapper on, which I've never heard of.
You never played Parappa the Rapper?
I never played Parappa the Rapper. We had that on at 6 a.m. and it was so funny.
Oh my god, that game. I forgot about that game. I had that game.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And we had one person finish all of the Mario games, I believe it was. We had someone do one of the Ace Attorney games.
Oh, I love those games so much.
Yeah.
And like those of Professor Layton.
Yes, yeah. She's a massive fan of those too. We had several people finish like campaigns for like FPSs, like I think we had Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So many games, and it was so fun, and I don't know, I'm just so proud of all the Game Changers because they worked their butts off. Like we had a friend come round, and he came round really late in the day, and he had to do 100 wins on Super Smash Brothers. Holy shit, watching him play, it was ridiculous. He was like, oh my god, because he was playing online with like genuine people, and he kept being matched to the same people because obviously we're playing all night.
Right.
And you'd see these people just getting frustrated because they're like, this goddamn guy, what is this? And he's just like leaping at, like, this guy's amazing at Smash. I've never seen anything like it. Like, not outside of professional level. Like, it was amazing. They all worked so hard. The Portal games were played. Yeah, so 30 games in total. If you want to see a list of all the games, it's on my Instagram account at GYZRA.
How did they do at Nintendo Golf?
No, we didn't play that.
Unbelievable.
You should have joined it.
I should have done. I should Nintendo Golf it on the next one. I don't know what would be the goal. Besides just get angry and throw the controller, but...
Original concept was you have to make the credits roll. That was counted as ending a game.
Right.
But there are a few games that doesn't apply to, and so people came up with like a challenge for. So, for example, Smash Brothers, it was the 100 wins, and I think he played 130 games to get those 100 wins, which is a very good ratio, to be fair. Yeah, playing Legend of Zelda, like that was my childhood game, and being able to get to a point where it was just seeing those credits roll, and oh my god, my bloody heart, right? I put the wrong disc in, one of my discs is broken. So when I got to the end of the game, right before the credits roll, the game crashed. It said disc cannot be read.
Oh god.
But it was okay because I knew I'd finished it. I'd already taken a photograph of Link and Zelda holding hands, which is like the end of the game. So I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, that.
So I uplifted that.
Still counts. Still counts.
Still counts, yeah.
I don't know, what would I have played? I can't even think of like what games I played last that I follow through to get to an end, you know? Like
Yeah.
I
found it really hard to think of something because a lot of the games I play are very long games. Like they're either long games or they're games that don't have an ending. They're like a Call of Duty or Destiny. I was like, can I do a Destiny raid? And they're like, no, that doesn't count. So
I think the last game I played with an ending was like that I focused on was like BioShock Infinite or Spec Ops.
Yeah. I'm not sure you'd want a 24-hour stream Spec Ops. It might depress you.
No, I love that game.
Yeah.
I might even, I mean, I know people won't like this, but there's a part of me that almost kind of likes that game even more than BioShock Infinite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've not played Spec Ops. I've just started the BioShock series.
I mean, I haven't even played the first BioShock, which is terrible, but BioShock Infinite was fantastic.
Wait, what? The first BioShock was awful.
No, it's great.
Why
It's terrible that I haven't played it.
Oh,
but the
I'm
game
playing
itself
it
is great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, it's... I've been struggling with games recently. A lot of games I've tried to play have just not held me, if that makes sense. Life is Strange held me. But a lot of games that aren't multiplayer, I just haven't had the same connection that I have with, like, Zelda in the past, for example. Yeah. And I thought, oh, maybe it's because I've changed. Maybe I've grown up, and it's just not the kind of games that I want. And then I started BioShock. This game has me in the palm of its hands. It is so good.
The first one?
I think, yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, it holds up. The atmosphere of it, like, bearing in mind, I have seen BioShock Infinite, so that's the only knowledge I have of the BioShock series. Playing that game, I was worried, because I struggle a lot with, like, older graphics. I tend to find that I know it's cardinal sin to say this, but I can't play games that have really old graphics on them. I just struggle with it. I don't have that problem with this game. This game holds up. It has good graphics, obviously not the same as, like, Skyrim today or something like that, but very good graphics and beautiful atmosphere. There's something about that game, the way it moves you through the series, that just... I mean, it's better than any movie I've ever seen at holding an atmosphere and forcing you to live through it.
Right.
It's very impressive. I would really recommend it. I know that they've got, like, the collector's editions out now, and that it's on Steam now and stuff. I'd really recommend it just to feel the atmosphere of that world and then try and think, how can I, like, apply that to my own work?
Yeah, sorry, I just totally screwed something on my drawing. I'm just like, oh, I'm struggling.
Everyone in chat's like, Life is Strange is amazing. Yes, it is. I've played that game so many times.
I still gotta play that. I think I have it.
It's very good. I'm currently doing a collector's run of it, trying to get all the photographs. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I know there's a lot of people who really didn't like it. I know there's a lot of people who really didn't like the ending in particular. But personally, I quite enjoyed it for what it was. I think it's a lovely art piece and a lovely homage to being an adolescent who is arty.
Right.
Whereas a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's so hipster, oh my god.
I like hipster games. That's what brought me back to PC gaming, was hipster games. One of the games that got me stoked to PC game again was Dear Esther, which is like the hipsteriest of.
Oh wow, you played Dear Esther.
I love Dear Esther, man.
Huh. I watched it on YouTube. Didn't play it myself.
Oh, it's fantastic. The writing in it was great. It was the. I mean, that's what really kind of has been intriguing me lately in games. Was surprisingly enough, seems like it should be the art, but it's actually a lot of the writing. I felt like, I mean, games always kind of had a. I don't know. There was just a certain aspect of the writing in games that kind of just reached into some new areas I hadn't really seen games explore. It was like, I remember like the first time seeing like Silent Hill 2, and you're just like, whoa, you know, because you don't. Especially when you think of that time, there wasn't a lot of games with writing that kind of goes that far into that much kind of detail, that plays conceptually kind of. I don't know. It's just that next level, like with the structure of it, and you don't see that often. And then I was seeing more of it, and more recently, and I know a lot of people were upset with Dear Esther because they joke is the walking simulator, that it doesn't address the game element of gaming, which you could argue is true. I mean, I feel like if you have a spectrum between something being considered a game or something being considered a tech demo or whatever, Dear Esther is going to come the closest to not being a game, because you can't technically lose. But I feel like what you can lose in that if you don't invest into kind of really piecing the story together and what's going on and the conceptual things that happen and the design of it, because it's very detailed in that regard, then that's really the game. It's just how much you get out of that. But it was more so, it just got me excited for the level it could go. I mean, that's why I actually really like Spec Ops. I think BioShock Infinite had some of the best game writing that I've ever seen. It's an absolute.
I've heard it is very praised.
Yeah, absolute masterpiece. I mean, it gets tricky because it's one of those things where you have to play it probably a few times to really piece everything together, because there's also so much detail. But I loved the thing that I always kind of hold dear with Spec Ops is that it was disguised as a genre that you would never expect a game like that to happen. Like everyone. Before people knew about that game and it had its reputation, everyone going on board just figured it would be just some kind of watered down Call of Duty clone. And
I think that's the thing I wish I had known about it, because I haven't played it myself, but I learnt of it very quickly and learnt about what it is.
Yeah.
I wish that I had instead seen like a trailer for it and just bought it and played it myself.
Right.
Because I feel like it would have been such a more powerful experience.
It'd be a great way to experience it, but even going in knowing what you know about it now, it still can be really rewarding, because you can keep that in mind as you're playing, and you can start really looking for all the details in the story that happen, because it's a very psychological game. So the way
I always wondered about that with Dark Souls, because everyone says there's such a like great lore in there somewhere, but you have to find it.
Yeah, I haven't played that. I have that as well, but man, that game's supposed to be brutal to get through. I don't know if I have the patience to get through that, even though I know that's like kind of technically how the story and concept works. Like it's supposed to kick your ass all the time, you know?
Yeah, that's very much my brother's game, not mine.
I tend to be a little bit more casual in gaming. Like I like the stories and the art, but I'm not that competitive when it comes to those things, so I don't want the challenge of the game to distract me from the art of the game. But though in many cases I know that the challenge of the game is part of the art of it, but it's just tends to not be the part I focus on as much. So games that really focus on that artistic aspect of the game, and how do you build a puzzle, how do you build a challenge, aren't going to be as rewarding to me, which is fine, you know, just different audience. But yeah, I don't have the skill set to get through.
Yeah, no, me neither. Yeah, that was one of the things that playing Legends of Zelda taught me this weekend. It was like, you are not a good gamer. You may love games. You may love them with all of your goddamn heart. It doesn't mean you're good at them.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am. Anyone can. I tend to just love. I just like anything that can be attributed to culture. That's why I have so many games, and so few of them are played through. Almost none of them are finished because I just like.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. It's weird. It's like I just really love the ideas people have, and sometimes it takes a very particular game to pull me through the whole thing. You know, that's like BioShock Infinite and Spec Ops, and I never really went through the story of Skyrim, but I'll spend a lot of time in it. You know, I don't know, but oh my god, I gotta figure out a way to get like my head into proper art mode. I already like screwed up the last drawing.
Oh, my computer beeped at me. My computer says chill, close. Yeah, I'm struggling with her mouth. Because there's a very subtle, like, a very subtle expression in the mouth where she's trying to hide, like,
yeah,
the burst of feeling, and it's quite hard to capture.
It made it really, the way she has the subtle smirk really made it hard for me to line up the our left eye, like her right, our left. I kept screwing that up.
Right.
And I think I was,
yeah.
I didn't address
eye.
the shift in the planes on the face that came with the smirk. I kept lining up the mouth incorrectly, and then I kept making the eye too low, but it seems like it would measure right, but I wasn't measuring it properly. It should actually be a little higher. The eye's a little higher than the other one, and it's a very subtle thing. I actually see some pretty things. Life is Strange was like Gone Home. Gone Home's great, too. Another game I played is Shmoony. Another game I played recently was that amazing Playdead's Inside. It's by the people that made Limbo.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I need to look into that. I've also, has anyone seen Layers of Fear, I think it's called?
Oh yeah, I just saw that recently. That game was like, that looked incredible.
Dude.
As far as the art design of that goes.
Dude, they're so good. I haven't finished it yet. I'm watching through it whilst I work on artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, as an artist, I think it's very fun. Artists, go and enjoy that. Like, go and enjoy the dumb that is. It's a horror game about a painter. That's as much as I'm going to tell you, because I feel like the entire point of it is to discover what is happening in it.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that they have very classical paintings and the way they tell symbolism with those paintings, and the idea of this painter like going insane and then people complaining at him about this whole tortured ice thing's a bit much, don't you think? I think it's amazing. As an artist, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, they really and it was one of those games where like everybody, you could tell everyone that was working on it was really just in the zone on the same page. I don't know, they might have been battling behind the scenes, but the way it looked to me is that team was like, they were all on the same page.
Yeah.
However, I rocked pole position like nobody's business. Heather makes things. Classic. Classic. All I was ever allowed to have video games growing up. I was never allowed to have video games. All I had was an old Atari system that my cousins donated to us. Old school.
I got my boyfriend a Atari 2600 for his birthday.
You guys could play, was it like Pitfall and Burger Time?
Yeah, I think I got him Pitfall, and I think I got him Dig Dug, Space Invaders, Centipede. Yeah, I got him a whole bunch of the like old classics that people had like recommended to me. So I'm not much of a retro gamer. It's not really my thing, but it's very much his thing. So.
Oh, you guys gonna get that new little baby Nintendo?
He might. I'm not bothered. Mine was the N64, and that's about as retro as I get.
Right. I was considering getting that Nintendo thing. I know there's emulators, but there is something to be said about just sitting down with an OG controller. I was a little disappointed to see it didn't have Contra on it, which was pretty surprising. But oh man, it had some of my favorites.
Yeah, there's nothing better to me than picking up a N64 controller. It does fill me with heaven.
I remember Nintendo 64 was probably the most excited I had ever been waiting for a game system to come out. I remember when it was first announced and they were calling it the Ultra 64, and I was following that, every little bit of news about that religiously. I was just,
oh wow,
oh my god, everything about it. And then when it came out, I remember I was actually having a sleepover at a friend's house, and it was at home. Like, I had it, and I hadn't got to use it yet.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I so desperately want to go home so I can play with the system. And I think even when I got home, I had to do something else. Like, I think our family was, like, going to visit someone or something.
I think I'd die.
It was absolute torture, and it was just sitting there, and I had a Pilot Wings and Mario 64, and always a huge Pilot Wings fan. I freaking love Pilot Wings. And I'll have you know, like, I was there was like missions where you could like take photos, like with your jumpy boots and all those kind of things, and I was oh my god, I was so next level at that.
I was that for Pokemon Snap. I was like the best.
That's the best thing ever, is like getting just these insane photos. Like, I'd spend like 2.5 hours being like, all right, I know the flight path of this hang glider, and if I do this thing right here, I'll be able to get that, and I had to try it over
I was like that, but I was like, I need to get Pikachu riding Articuno.
Surprised there's not more about, I mean, I guess there's games about, like, taking the photos and stuff in games, but...
Dude.
What?
My money just went out for Final Fantasy 15. So... And in it, because I bought the stupid-ass bullshit collection, I get a camera with it, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to be going on a road trip with 4 guys around a Final Fantasy world, taking photos, and you will never hear from me again.
That will be the end.
That is the end of me.
Do you know what game I want them to reboot is Interstate 76? I want a modern reboot of that game.
I don't know that.
Oh my god, it was so awesome. It was... So the premise is it's like an alternate history in the 70s, because during the time there was the gas crisis, and so it was like 70s theme and 70s funk music, and you were driving around, you drive in your car and you'd have your guns, and it was kind of like a little bit Mad Max style, but it was more of in like the actual, just like, not like Mad Max desert, but like kind of American West desert. And it was really, like, the graphics are really old school polygon, and they have it on GOG, but it sucks because, like, it didn't scale well with the engine, so I haven't been able to get it to really work right. But, you would just drive around, and then there'd be the vigilantes, and you would, shoot them. I think there was a game called, like, Vigilante 6 or Vigilante 8 or something that came on PlayStation, and I believe that was, like, an alternate history project of the game, but yeah, you drive around the desert. It has its whole story. You're trying to avenge your sister's murder, and it's you and your friend Stampede, who's the dude with the giant afro, driving like the boat-style Cadillac with the guns on it. And it was so cool because lots of parts of the game were just driving. Like, it was very much about being on the road. And it had all those kind of little things where you could just, like, ask Stampede to say a poem, and through the CB radios, and then he would just, like, recite a poem to you as you're, like, driving down through the desert,
Oh my god.
And then eventually you get into the battles and everything. But there was something about the tone of that game. Like, the game, like, kind of understood a little bit more the scale of just road tripping and driving. And so I would freaking love a reboot of that in, just in the desert, and then they had Interstate 82, so that took place in 1982, which I freaking want a reboot of that, I think, even more, because then you could, come on, you could be having a game that goes from 70s funk to early 80s funk, and you're driving through the desert, shooting guys and being funky. This game is, like, for me, like, it was so much fun. And then it's also one of those fun games to screw around in, and just, like, hit jumps and go flying, but, it was, I don't know, it really felt like, where Grand Theft Auto was able to kind of get the tone. I guess at this point maybe people don't need it as much, because you have Grand Theft Auto, and then if you want the open desert, you have Red Dead Redemption. But it just, I think the spirit of it is if you, I don't know, you combine car combat and the feeling of that Grand Theft Auto with Red Dead Redemption, and then you have that all on top of a funky soundtrack. I love that game. I should probably be playing Grand Theft Auto.
Perhaps.
Man, I should try this drawing again. Okay, I can do this. All right, got it. Woo! Here we go. Okay, art. Again, art. I love art. Let's do this.
I'm trying to prepare myself for the fact that this is about to get into the horrendous, awkward teenage phase of a painting. And I haven't done any digital painting in quite some time.
What's the awkward teenage phase of the painting?
When you're just laying in big chunks of colour and it just looks ugly until you can refine it.
Oh, I hate that part.
I hate it too.
How do I even want to pro? God damn it. All right. Just muttering to myself. I think that's just the spirit of things right now. It's just how we get. Ah, God damn it.
You alright there?
Yeah, it'll be fine. Everything's great. Everything couldn't be better. Just drawing circles, just as promised.
That is an odd sound.
Yeah, it's like that scene in The Ring when the kid's just sitting on the floor going, drawing the circle. That's how I feel right now. Just put that on a loop with that sound just increasingly getting louder.
Oh, I'm drawing the wrong layer. Why? What?
God, man, that movie. I remember that movie freaked everyone out in theaters.
I never saw it.
Oh God, it was. It's good. You know, I mean, for what it was in the time, like I don't know. It's not like the best movie ever or anything, but it was like. I mean, it had parts that was just like Jesus. You know, it really nailed you on some pretty hardcore jump scares in that one. One in particular, it was just like there was literally absolutely no possible way you knew it was gonna happen, and it was like so fucking creepy, just out of like nowhere. There's nothing that can prepare you for it. I wish I could go back to the theater and do that thing where I just look back at the audience during it to see everyone's response.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was absolutely horrific. I think everybody in the chat who's seen the movie knows the exact part.
It's not the right color. God damn it. That'll do. Oh, I hate this so much. I hate it so much. It just makes me feel like, oh, you don't know how to paint. You don't know anything about painting. I feel like a lot of artists who do like who show their painting don't show this stage, or at least they've learned how to get through it incredibly quickly.
Yeah, but it's because it looks horrific when it's happening. I remember, I guess I should bust out oil paints on another podcast, but yeah, it's like for me, it's like, especially in portraits, it's like kind of most of the painting, it looks really bad. It looks weird and awkward, and then when you'll know if it will work out in the end, and if it's not working out, it's just the worst feeling ever. But,
I hate it so much.
I remember Smokey Beard had to, at the studio, he had to, like, a couple paintings, he had to, like, talk me through to, like, finish, because I was in that phase, and I'm like, I'm screwing it up, it's never gonna work, and he'd be like, no, it's cool, you just gotta, he kept saying the line, because my paints were all getting muddy and dirty, and it was not looking right, and I was getting ready to, like, go all big funish on everything, and then he was just like, no, man, he's like, you gotta just clean her up a little bit, just clean her up a little bit. Gotta just wipe off the face a little, just clean up some of the. It's like, all right, I can. And then it worked out. Like, he was right. I just had to be patient through it. But that is, it's the worst. It's the worst part of painting. I never heard of it as the awkward teen phase of it. That's a really good way to put it too.
It's just what I call it.
that is an absolute perfect way to describe it. It is being in junior high, doing that presentation in front of class, and just looking at, like, the clock, and like, has it been 7 minutes yet? You know.
It's just this stage in the painting where it doesn't want to exist. It's just like, my hormones are all over the place. My boyfriend broke up with me. It's like this worst. Yeah. It's just like,
sitting there like, oh man, I have a nerve. I hope the teacher doesn't call on me to write something on the board. You know. It's like, God damn it. And then out of nowhere, it suddenly blossoms, but you have to give it so much time before it gets there. Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know about other people, but I definitely give up very quickly at this stage. I suddenly just go, oh, I can't paint, and just stop. And I have to, like, force myself through it. I've got these pictures of, like, Rembrandts and Sargents up on my screen. It's like, you can do it.
Right.
Channel their energy.
Right.
Every painting looked awful for like a minute. The awkward teen phase of painting is when it gets hair in all the weird places. Yes. I'm also being too brushy. Should be less brushy. I should be applying less brush strokes to create the same effect.
So, like, use larger brushes?
Yeah, definitely.
Awkward teen phase in a painting. It's when you get hair in awkward places. And you have a boner and the bell rings and you're supposed to stand up in class. Ba-boom, psh.
Here you go, people. That's your song today.
That's today's song. It is officially Awkward Teen Day 2016. It's going to be Awkward Teen for a little while. Oh boy. I hope I can. How am I going to approach the mouth here and not get that? It's alright, we got this.
I'm going to try something. I heard a friend talk about doing this, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to try duplicating the layer. And then I'm going to try blurring it.
Do you know what I think's happening in this picture that's making it also kind of tricky? Is that the smirk it's raising her eyebrow up on the smirk side of her face, but the eyebrow where it is raising is being partially covered by hair. So it's making it really hard to see the rise. Because obviously when you move your eyebrows, your eyeball isn't moving. But for some reason, it almost looks like it did in this one. It almost looks like we have this weird shift in the plane. Like if you really look at the photo for a minute, like her eyes, it's like, I don't know if it's a lens distortion partially too, but her eyes are, it's like the plane of her mouth and her eyes don't even look like, it's like an optical illusion where it doesn't seem like it's on the same plane as her head.
Well, that's because, or at least if I'm thinking of the same thing as you, I think that's because the mouth is on like a ball in terms of like a muzzle, sort of.
Yeah.
And it's turning around that muzzle. So it is moving on its own plane that things then are pulled with, but don't necessarily sit in the same direction as.
And what's throwing me off though is it really looks like the eyes are not like, because she's slightly squinting her lower eyelid up. I'm talking about the left side of her face here. Lower eyelid up, her eyebrows slightly raised, but it's covered by hair. So it almost looks like that eye is not on the same plane as the other eye, like it's higher on her head, which then makes it look like her face is more facing the camera than it actually is.
Right, yes, yes.
So I don't know how to approach that eye because it doesn't even... I think it is just the exact subtleties of different parts of the expression with the exact aspects of it that are obscured by the hair. It just is like... it's an absolutely super difficult thing to draw.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I knew when we picked this one, I was like, that's going to be a hard expression, but I think we just needed a really, like, nice, uplifting picture.
Yeah.
I'd be interested, is anyone else drawing this, and how are they finding it?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the chat's experience with this drawing is. How do I... Okay, well, Alright, let's... How am I going to measure this?
With great skill and courage, my friend.
Well, the crazy thing is so I'm trying to like measure. I swear that if you were to take the insides of her eyes, right where it comes to a point where the eyelids touch, and you were to dot them out, the plane would be in line with the mouth, but it's a slightly different plane than where her cheeks and forehead are facing. Or am I just crazy? Does anyone else see that? Am I losing it?
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
All right, so maybe I can demonstrate it on my paper here.
I can't see it.
It's kind of hard to see my paper, but
Chat will
maybe
be able to see it, but I can't see it because for some reason I can't get straight to play.
Right. So, crap. You know what? Maybe I will just load the photo I'm gonna load the photo. I think that would make more sense. I'm gonna move this over here because I think my drawing's gonna be too light on the paper to really see it. So I'm gonna just full screen this photo, and then I'm gonna share screen that so you can see my cursor. And what I'm saying here to the chat is if you measure this point to this point, so right on the insides of the eyes, this line across here to these 2 points kind of follows the direction of her smirk. But what's so weird is the smirk is on a different lane than if you measure points on her cheeks and the direction of her forehead. Like the smirk, it's so hard to kind of demonstrate this. Okay, so I think if I go back now to my art, now what I can do is I can draw the planes to kind of illustrate that point. So from the points of the insides of the eye is on a plane that, let's say it was this line right here. And if you were to draw that as the plane, it feels like the face should kind of be coming out like this direction, like a plane like that. And then the cheeks would match that plane as well. Like they would come out and they would kind of have like a thing that would come out a little bit. And they would have this kind of plane on them. I mean, this is an exaggerated version of them to make it look more obvious. Let me kind of shade that in so you see that plane. And then this plane, which would line up with the cheeks. But the weird thing is the plane, if you measure off the insides of the eyes, almost looks like it's kind of, I'm going to exaggerate it more just to get the idea, it almost looks like it's receding, like back further at a different angle than the cheeks and the forehead. So if you were to shade that in, like this, and so what that ends up happening is the mouth is also kind of at this awkward angle that almost matches the eyes. I mean, this is an exaggerated one, but it matches the eyes more like this, even though the chin kind of follows a little bit. But you would think that the chin, being structured on bone around the skull, should match the cheeks and the forehead. But it doesn't. It seems to follow a little bit with the mouth, which goes in as well. And so what you're left with, if you clear out everything else, this should kind of demonstrate why this is bizarre. And sometimes this happens when we have that wide angle lens distortion, which we've talked about previously. But if you have that, now erasing this and only leaving the planes, let me draw this out and see if I can really illustrate it. It's kind of hard because I'm supposed to turn the paper. Like, don't draw horizontal lines ever. You always want to make them vertical so you can draw them straight. That's what kind of, that's another hard thing actually sometimes with the podcast is I can't really rotate my paper as much.
Yeah.
So drawing straight lines is really tricky because I have to draw them across, which is doesn't always work that well. So this one feels more like this, and the chin is kind of similar but a little more shallow like that. So hopefully this picture starting to come together a little bit. And you can see that these planes go all sorts of different directions. And then this one is up here like this. All right. It's like that. So in other words, this is the tricky thing, is you have two planes that seem to be receding together back this way and then spreading out further apart as they come more towards the edge of the paper. And then you have the planes of the forehead and the plane of the cheeks, which should be receding into the distance and coming off. You know, eventually they'll meet over here, and these will eventually meet over here. And then the chin, which is in its own completely other plane. So it's kind of in this weird way, the perspective's going off this way and then back this way, and it's really hard to measure it. So hopefully that kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on.
I really wish I could see what you were doing, but I can't, and I don't know why.
It's me in the just in the live stream. It's delayed, but
no. As in the live stream won't work for me.
Oh.
That's why when we started the show, I asked chat if it was all working for them. They all said it was, so I just left it. But I actually physically can't watch the live stream right now. I don't know.
Oh
why.
heavens!
Yeah, so I can't help you.
Oh, it's all right. Of course, now I have these big rectangles drawn on my paper that I have to try to work around. I don't know. That happens sometimes, though, man. Faces are subtle. It's like for all the tediousness of landscapes, I do miss the fact that like they're much. You don't have to worry about making them as noticeably screwed up, you know.
There was a quote on The Crown that I watched today where a painter said, "No one decides to be a portrait painter. No one goes into art wanting to be a portrait painter."
Interesting point.
I feel like that's really not true. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we do sort of stumble into it. Maybe it is something that we didn't set into originally. But I feel like it's such a competitive field.
Right.
And we all vie to be the person who is either a portrait artist or is a character designer or something, that I find it odd. Where did that idea come from? Is that something that people believe? Is that something that is true?
I don't know. I never really thought of myself. I think portrait, like straight portrait painting, I think a lot of artists don't think of it that much. You know, they know famous artists make portraits and have made portraits, but they don't think of in the scale of art history as, yeah, he's like I'm a portrait artist. I want to be the next big portrait artist. I think I always just thought you just want to be an artist, but usually what you picture in your mind is not so much specifically portraits in a traditional sense. Usually it would be some kind of other thing going on, you know, like some type of concept or idea.
Yeah.
So because the idea is you would be able to express yourself a little more, you know.
Right.
But over time, I think I had a very traditional art background, so I kind of appreciated portraits, you know, in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever thought of myself as I don't think I would have predicted that I would have spent this much time just drawing portraits like down the road. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That's interesting to me. It's interesting to me because in the like visual effects world, or viz dev world, should I say, it's like the thing to be the character guy. It's like that's the thing everyone wants to be. Oh,
yeah, because in fine art, I think it's being like a portrait painter seems just pretty straightforward. You know, usually you try to see yourself making this next big series. But it's funny because so many famous art pieces. But I think it's still the influence of contemporary art. You know, contemporary art telling you that traditional art does not. It isn't as quote unquote intelligent in that regard. That it's not, you know, that kind of high class concept.
You know what? I think this has helped me.
What?
Earlier I said I'm going to try something that a friend told me to do. And it's the idea where you blur the photograph that you're working from. So if I show that on my screen, there's the original photo. That isn't actually the original photograph. The original photograph is of her full body or like half body.
Right.
And I've also messed with the levels and the colouring slightly just because I wanted to. It was a bit too red for me, and I was worried that if I painted it as red as it was in the original, I would go too far and make it not look right. So I changed the levels to make it more green and blue, and I have in turn blurred the image, so you can see there, like there's the new version that's blurred.
Yeah.
And I'm finding it is actually helping me in seeing the larger groups of like skin color. Like I was struggling with that. I was struggling to move away from detail, and I think it has helped me to like blur it at this stage and work from that.
I remember beyond just cubing everything was learning. I would use the the artistic cutout filter on Photoshop.
Oh yeah, they suggested that at school for like color picking.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I had some of that, but I remember also kind of thinking of it in the regards of using it to simplify shapes to make them so they're easier to measure. So there's when you don't have the gradiated colors and tones, it's easier to kind of see the form.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm finding it useful. So there you go, people. Learn something every day, didn't you?
We never stop learning.
All right.
Never stop. Oh wait, no, I lined that up to the wrong line. Whoops. I didn't follow my own measurements. Oh, I see, that can't be right. Maybe it is. God, that seems so weird.
I'm really intrigued with what you're struggling with. I can go on a rant for so long about BizDev.
VizDev?
I'm not sure I'm going to read out who that was, just in case.
What is VizDev?
Visual development. So it's basically, Quick can correct me on this, but I believe it is everything that's like visual design in like movies, video games, that kind of thing. So it's like concept art, splash imagery, special effects, that kind of thing. It's all the visual design that you would do in a movie or game, what do you call it? Like a I can't remember it. Like product timeline, or I don't know. The words have lost me, but I might have that corrected for me. But yeah, I often hear BizDev referred to in reference to either concept art or anything that branches off of that. I have several friends. I am right. Oh, thank you. I was really worried there that I was saying absolute gibberish. Yeah, I have a few friends who work in BizDev, so... One of my friends... Oh my god, okay. Guys.
Yes?
I was, like, freaking out. So, I've mentioned it before on the podcast. Adam Byrne is a artist who does the UK Comic-Con circuit. He also does some of the American ones. He goes to, like, New York and San Diego and all that jazz. Yeah. He, the latest Wonder Woman trailer has work in it that he did. How exciting is that?
Oh, wow.
I was like, dude, that's amazing. I mean, he's worked on so many, like, really big projects. I mean, he recently worked on something for Firefly. But when I saw him say there is a trailer out right now where you can see the parts that I worked on, I was like, dude.
That's like...
That's amazing.
That's got to be a good feeling.
Like, can you even imagine? Can you even imagine being able to turn on the TV and see a trailer for a movie, like a big budget movie, and be like, I did that? I'd be like, oh my god.
That would be absolutely awesome. Which I wholly plan to be the case with me. It's pretty much no matter where you look, you're gonna see my art around. It's like boom, there he is again. Your
movie would be some weird ass like hipster movie that gets shown at the Sundance Festival. There's like people driving through like a forested like part of America where like long road with tall trees on either side that have barely any leaves on them until you get to the top.
Yeah.
And there's just like smoke rolling and it's just a guy with his radio playing like funk music. That was the movie.
That's pretty much it. I should make a drawing of that. I should make a drawing of that specific description.
And then I can finally make that painting for you of the like beautiful landscape ruined by a girl in a white sundress.
In the white dress with no shoes on. Bare feet, white dress. Just has to be there. Couldn't just be the. It's still my challenge. Anytime you see a photo or a painting of a landscape and you really like it, just for me, just remove the person or whatever out of it, and just remove it, and then take a look, and then see if you like it more or not. I don't know.
I'm gonna add thirds to scale.
Oh my god! Every single one. It always had. You won't even be able to add it. I mean, you can add like 40 people or something, but it's already gonna be there. There'll be nothing to add because it's already there every time. Funny thing is, the description's actually pretty close. I actually finished my my dead guy drawing. You want to see it? Well, you can't see it.
No, I can't see it. Unfortunately, I can't. Is it on your Twitter or anything?
No, I haven't posted it anywhere yet.
Okay. I'll see it when you post it. I don't know why I can't watch the stream today. It's so dumb. Yeah. I can see the chat, and I guess that's all that truly matters, but it just is mildly disappointing that I can't watch the chat, the video. I guess, I don't know. I guess my computer's like, you watched it, like, you ran an entire bloody Twitch stream last week. You can calm down. Yeah. I'm done. As a computer, I am done. I've tried resetting it, and it just, like, it jumps to whatever the current, like, screen grab is. But it doesn't progress from that. It just has like a spinning wheel of death.
So it's just like it's just a still of the screen.
Of whatever that moment when I refreshed it is, yeah.
Huh.
It's very odd. Hopefully no one else is discovering this issue. Hopefully it's just me. I'm fine with me not being able to watch the stream.
It could have something to do with that internet connection error we were having, which I don't think is happening anymore.
I don't know. Don't know. But it's fine. It's fine. I'll just sit here painting.
Am I even gonna end up finishing this drawing? I don't even know if I'm gonna end up finishing this.
Whoa!
What?
My fucking screen like freaked out. I don't know if anyone saw that. Like, my screen just like completely freaked out. Like, just flashing everywhere.
I think I just came in late on it for a second. I missed it. Oh no, there's the internet connection problem message again.
Oh no! What if it's my fault?
I don't know. Could be. It could be either of our faults. There's no way to know. We'll never find out. It's just one of those.
And on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Is that how they all end? I never watched it.
I love that you don't even. You're like, what?
I don't know. I get lost in that stuff. It's like when I say, "Hey, you seen that?" And you're like, "I haven't seen that movie." I'm like, "Come on now." And then it's like anytime you guys talk about anime, manga, anything, I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Well, I feel vindictive if just one person... Vindicated? If just one person got that joke. Vindictive.
Hopefully one person got that. Yeah, they did. Good.
It's not the word I meant.
My plan. It's coming into fruition.
I was using words the other day, and people were like, why are you using these words?
I use wrong words all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I try to just stick to pictures.
I'm trying to remember what the word was the other day that everyone was like, what does that mean? Convoluted.
Oh, convoluted.
I used the word convoluted, yeah. In reference to the dumbass puzzles in Legend of Zelda.
Oh, right.
But, I enjoy Legend of Zelda, but there's nothing more annoying than it being like, you need to sing the Song of Time 4 times in a row when you're on like a bloody time limit. Yeah. And I'm like, And I was like, every time I get to a new stage of this game, it gets even more convoluted. And I was like, what the hell is that word?
I find myself in those situations in games always ending up needing to use the word esoteric for just being like,
right.
Who the hell would know that, you know? Who has that random knowledge?
Oh my god. Games. If you can hear weird noises, it's because my mum is cooking in the background and I think the microphone's picking it up. Which is quite amazing because the microphone's so far away from the kitchen.
I thought you were typing at first.
Yeah, no, that's not typing. That's like
sizzling and stuff? Yeah,
it's like 2 rooms away as well. I'm amazed that the mic's picking it up, but it seems to be really loud on the mic. I'm going to turn my gain down just slightly and tell me if it completely screws everything up and I'll fix it.
Alright, yeah, we'll have to get feedback from the audience because I've been trying to match our... Because I don't know, my microphone always struggled to get to the proper volume. And,
yeah.
So, I've tried to adjust for that accordingly. Maybe I should have mine up a little bit, but...
When do we want to go to a break, by the
Oh,
way?
right, that. Yeah, whatever. How's everybody following in the chat doing? Do they have art? Does everyone have some art to show?
Do people's has the art? Question mark.
I'm wasting 2 sheets of Arch's paper on this. Unbelievable. Why didn't I just draw in Bristol this time? I shouldn't have used the Arch's pad. Big mistake.
I have a cat, and I don't know if anyone can see it, but hey. Can they see me on screen? Like my face?
No.
Can they see it? Oh, does it not have the tiny little me?
Well, there's the tiny little you, but you can only see your forehead.
Oh, wait. Okay. There we go.
Oh, there it is. In the bottom corner is the little kitty. There you go. Perfect. Demon Man posted a work in progress.
My headphones out of my ears.
Too tired to art. Quick, that has nothing. Heather makes things that got a work in progress. Man, we are all just... Alright.
Massage lady just happened. Just left.
I guess Demon Man's getting a massage.
Oh no, what's happening in your life right now?
He's getting... Just getting a massage, making some art.
Dude! I want that life.
I know.
I want to be able to like, get a massage then do a painting. Like, yes.
Yeah, I need that in my life. Alright, let's see.
Too tired for a... Schmoonify, I have been enjoying your cats. Schmoonify is posting cats all this month, and they're amazing. He's been painting little black cat, well, loads of cats, but recently little black cats.
Yeah,
and they're so good.
I like it, and then all their great little art references in them and everything. Highly recommend.
The recent black cats look so real. Like, I'm so tempted to commission Schmoonify to paint one of my little black cats. Then I do paint him.
Commission painting a kitty cat. Oh God. What am I doing? See, I'm wasting 2 sheets of paper. God damn it! This paper's expensive too.
Is that Arches?
Yeah, this is the Arches block. I already burned one of them, and wow, it's like, if I knew I wasn't gonna get to the end, why didn't I just use a piece of cheap Bristol to just practice on?
Yeah.
Why did I practice on Arches? I wasn't thinking. How many sheets do I have left on this block? Oh God, not many.
Ouch.
I think I'm just good. Like, this is like, I just listen to records the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I think it's just that kind of, like, the art's not happening well. I think it's gonna be a sit on the chair with headphones on and just eat ice cream out of the tub and listen to records.
I'll tell you what, for anyone who wants a good, like, new TV show to do master studies from, The Crown is really good for that. Really good for, like, atmospheric lighting, and I think if you're a fan of either Sargent or Vermeer, then watch The Crown and take a few screen grabs and try and paint them. I was quite impressed with their lighting. I'm so in for ice cream right now, says Heather.
There's not enough ice cream in the world. I just eat all of it. I'm gonna go through my whole tub. No, I shouldn't do that.
It's so cold here, though.
You know, the worst thing is all I want to do, I just want to go on a run at this point, and I can't.
What? Why?
Because, like, the health insurance still hasn't gotten through. They never got back to me again.
Why can't you go on a run?
Because I don't want to run without health insurance. Because I have my knee. I don't want to risk hurting my knee without health insurance.
Dude, that sucks.
So it's like I can't skate. I need to go skating. Oh, I really wish
that's crazy.
that health insurance thing would finally work out so I could go do stuff. I just keep reaching out to people and they don't. Oh my God.
What's taking them so long?
I don't know. Well, I emailed all the information that she needed before and she lost it. So a bunch of time went by and then I had trouble getting a hold of her, and then she's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She's like, "Okay, well, I got this thing now, so you should get a response in the mail in a week."
Nope. Nothing,
and it's just it's just there. So now I need to start calling again.
God damn it.
No.
Did I tweet correctly? Let's go find out, Demand Man. Let's go discover together.
Yeah, Demand Man, so we can just do a kind of a screen share. Like, you know, I can just pull it up in the browser or just, you know what I mean? I don't, you know, if it's like a casual check up on art kind of situation.
Yeah. Dak Hicks search. Oh, kitty cat. Latest. I can't see one from you, Demand Man. Try again. I can't see one. The last one I have that I can see is an adorable little kitty cat by Schmidify. But maybe Mike can have a check and see.
Yeah, I'll check on my end.
Sometimes you see ones that I don't see.
Twitter.biz search for
the massage lady liked watching you guys draw. Oh, that's so cool. You picked a challenging photo to draw. Yes, it is. Although this is the first portrait, even though it has no eyes. I apologize. This is the first drawing that I quite like. I don't think it matters to my man, but I put capital DAC and then small letters PICS. But I don't think it actually matters. Let me just check.
I do it. I don't think I just searched by all lowercase and it still brought up Schmoonies.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is the worst drawing I've ever made. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, same. It shouldn't matter. I don't know why it hasn't posted yours. Hey, Comet, what do you want? You're just going to stare at me vindictively. That's my word today. It's like
you're really stoked on
vindictive atmospheric dissonance.
Vindictive act. That sounds like you pretty much just described my my movie that you described earlier.
Yeah.
That'd be full of vindictive atmospheric dissonance.
That's your title, man.
That's a really awkward title for a movie.
It's awful.
That is not going to do well in the box office. Of course, I don't think my movie would do well in a box office anyways, so...
You never know.
Sometimes you do. I know the demand for my art.
Vindictive atmospheric dissonance.
Yeah.
There's a very specific command for it.
Yeah.
You might be able to hear Comic Karen in a minute. He's just like standing on me. Like legit just standing on me right now. What's that? It's quite amazing.
Clean up all these weird extra lines and see what the hell my drawing actually looks like.
What do you want, Comic?
Probably food.
Yeah, probably. That's all he ever wants. At the gaming party, he did a massive poop in the middle of the floor. Just walked in and just looked at everyone like, yeah, I just did that. And we were all like, oh my god, I can't believe the cat just did that. It was the worst thing ever.
It's so weird because cats are usually so good about that, aren't they?
Yes, but Comet is a special breed of cat.
Comet has his own agenda.
You're a nightmare, aren't you? God damn it. God damn cat. This cat, like, tortures me during the day. He's an absolute nightmare. No one truly understands until they've lived with him, then they're like, yeah, that's a mean cat. Because he has the cutest little face. He looks at you and he's like, I love you. I'm such a cute cat. And then he, like, throws all my stuff on the floor and, like, meows at me all day and now just stands on me for no reason.
He's like the
He's
cat
just standing here.
in Lady and the Tramp, you know, and they're just causing all the ruckus.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's like.
Tim has a friend that he always watches their cats, and they're two of those hairless cats, you know, and apparently apparently that's what they do, is they just like knock glasses off the tables and stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's what Comet does, definitely. Didn't you, Batten? Yeah. Yeah, you're quite happy about it, aren't you? Don't lick my face. I'm quite happy with this portrait, even though she doesn't have eyes right now. I need to fix that, but whatever.
Mine is. Oh, I need Yoni here saying, Mike, just clean her up. Just clean her up a
You're
bit.
all good. It's fine.
Just clean her up a bit. Oh, this is just. Oh my god.
I'm worried about putting the eyes in because I know that's where I'm going to mess it up. So I'm just like avoiding it.
Oh man, it's been my struggle. It's just
everything else can frame it, and then it will end up in the right place.
I can't even like look at this. It's going so badly.
Oh.
It's absolutely horrific.
Really?
It's literally. It might be one of the worst attempts at a portrait I've had in maybe like 4 or 5 months. Like.
Oh god.
It's just all off. It looks horrible.
Oh dear. Maybe you need to walk away.
Yeah.
I do find with those kinds of things when I'm at that stage, it's like I just walk away. It's not worth it. Walk away. And you'll do it like in 10 seconds the next day, and it's like, why couldn't I do it then? No, don't walk on the table, Fluff. Don't walk on the table.
Unbelievable. 2 sheets of arches.
Oh, dude. Oh, I can hear it being ripped. I can't see it, but I can hear it.
Okay.
It's okay.
It happens.
It does happen. It has to happen so that other good pieces can happen later.
Yep. Man, that was just, yep. It's all good. It's all good. Just ice cream and records, man. That's what, just National Ice Cream and Records Day. That's what I say.
Yeah.
November 9th, every year, National Ice Cream and Records Day. Boop, 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 boop,
You need to be careful about writing that, though. Because in the UK, it's 9/11 today.
Oh.
Yeah.
That could be tricky.
Which is cause.
But you know what? That's that's a good time to start. Listening to records and eating ice cream.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes. That'll just make it easier to remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because people need help remembering.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna look at Shmoonify's cat drawing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just gonna look at that, and that's gonna everything's
gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay. Boom. That's what we need right now. There we go.
It's so cute.
Oh my god,
guys.
I love like the dry media kind of shadow.
I know, it's so good. I love how 3D he is because of that.
It's fantastic.
Oh my god, Demand Man, my kitty ran through the oil paint and then jumped on the bed. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, all you can do at that point is you just let the paint dry, and that's just part of the bed now. You can't really clean that out of anything. So that's just part of the bed. I'm sure there's things people say you can do, but I don't buy it.
Yeah, I have a massive, like, splodge of ink on one of my bed covers because it's just like, I left a pen there and now I have to commit to that.
Yeah. It's like when you have those like Conte crayons, they're like the pastels but more like chalky. If you get that chalk anywhere, like forget it. Or like powder graphite. If you like spill powder graphite on carpet, you're just like, and I know that from experience because I was drawing when I was a kid. I was drawing in the basement, watching TV. My parents didn't want me drawing in that room because there was carpet, but I really wanted to like watch my show, and I spilled powder graphite on the floor.
Oh.
And it was just not happening. Like, it was just trying to vacuum, get it up, and then it just only did so much. And oh man, that moment, parents first saw it, I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. No, powder graphite, like, you get it wet, it just makes it even worse. And then it's
really?
like, yeah, because like, if you get like pencil wet on paper, you can't really erase it anymore. Like, even after it dries. Because it gets into the fibers more, it's pretty much that. And then it's also since powder graphite is actually like a machine lubricant lots of times, it makes it super slippery, so it doesn't really like wipe up, and you can only like vacuum so much of it. It's just toast. But what's frustrating is, unlike ink where it's just like, that's an ink stain, powder graphite's like this thing where like you keep thinking you can do something about it. It's like, I remember my one friend, he like, some some type of motor oil or something he had on his car seat spilled, and he cleaned it up, but it did that thing where, since it kind of just stays a liquid forever, it just got in the upholstery, and then he had that thing happen where he like, it ruined so many pairs of our pants, because you keep thinking it was clean, and then you sit on it, and then later you're off and you see like this like weird kind of grease stain on your pants where it just looks like your pants are wet, but they're not, and it just never came out. If for some reason you could just like never wash it out of anything, and you kept thinking the seat was clean, but then when you sat on it, then it would like release it like water in the sponge, you know? And finally I think he had to get seat covers, but
it's awful.
Yeah, it's the worst. Also, candle wax. I don't know if you ever stain clothes with candle wax on accident.
No.
That never comes out.
They use that for, like, tie-dye and stuff, right? Candle wax.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
Isn't that, like, a thing where you scrunch it up?
Yeah.
And, no. You melt wax and you pour it on it in a pattern, and then you can paint over it and it'll leave the pattern on the clothing, so you end up with, like, if for example you had a white shirt and you put wax on it in a pattern, and then you dunked it in like a red like ink, that's batik. Yeah, there you go, batik. You take it out and the white area is still left from the
how did you get the wax off eventually?
I don't think you
maybe I'm confused about.
There's like a certain type of wax used. I think it just like peels off or something. I remember doing it in school, but it's very vague to me. But yeah, it's called batik. Look up batik. B-A-T-I-K.
Huh.
Thank you, chat. Thank you, Tentacularly, for remembering that.
Yeah, tie-dye rubber bands. Boil it.
Yes.
Demo Man knows his tie-dye.
He does. He does know his tie-dye.
Makes me look forward to the Demo Man episode where we're going to make everything Demo Man themed.
Yes, I need to talk to you because I have a few ideas for a few different episodes. So those things are happening. Things are happening.
And also, people like hit us up because we like to be on the show. Hit us up and do it, like, you know, if you have weeks that you're available, let us know. Pretty much anyone in the chat that you want, if you want to join in live and draw, let us know. I mean, pretty much what you need is a decent camera, and the audio has to be pretty good. That's the hardest part. That's what we even struggled with a lot with the Artist Lounge series, is it was getting it to sound and look good. And
but if you're unsure, we can always do a sound test with you to check.
Well, and that's what we're gonna have to do that anyways, and it's gonna, especially whoever is the first guest, it's going to be, the sound check's going to take a little work because I'm going to have to test out some things so I can figure out how to get... We have
new overlays for it and everything, don't we? So.
Yeah, we're going to have the overlays set, and then we need to make the scenes into OBS, and then we need to test out multiple calling Skype and see how OBS handles that. And I mean, I'm sure it handles it fine, but I have to learn how to do it. So
the only reason why we haven't done it yet is just because we've both been so incredibly busy with our own stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
We do want to do it. It's not something that we're avoiding. So if you want to be on the show, message us.
Yeah, it is like a very much a goal in the show, and yeah, we just haven't had the time to be able to sit down and work through the technical details of it yet. But now that's coming up. Like there's more.
We're getting there. I mean, I've almost finished my book, and you're getting there as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Now that I have this kind of set, and there's the routine of it, and the routine of kind of, you know, art handling stuff I got going on, and those it's a little more measured and steady. I can take on that endeavor now.
Yeah.
Ultimate Supermaster. No, did I miss it?
Oh, what, the show? Sort of. We're getting there.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're still here. You didn't miss anything drawing wise on my part. So there's a handful of there's a couple fails, and a lesson on how the planes of the face are tricking me.
Weird.
Yeah. So, but it's all good. And it's declared to be now officially Records and Ice Cream Day. So
sure.
Be sure to listen to your favorite music and eat ice cream out of the carton later.
I think the Man has a piece in the artist lounge thread.
Oh, cool. Let me go. I'm gonna go to that, and then I can download that image and share it.
Beautiful.
Oh, here we are. This works. Gonna download the pictures.
Oh, I need to actually manually go over and find it, don't I? Because I can't watch the stream. Got that bit.
Oh, right.
Oh, he has two pieces.
Is it two? Is one the? Oh, one's just the further along drawing of the other one.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we will do that. Put that. Boop boop do. Put that there. We got that there. Load that up here. Now let's go one more like this. Yes. Do that there. And where did OBS go? There we are. Move that over here. Go to mic display there. Boom. The Man drawing.
Yeah.
This one's great. He's got particularly like the energy of the lines and the eyes.
Yeah.
So this is actually like a lot more detailed than a lot of line work we've seen Man do before.
Yeah, I find it interesting. Man was saying something about the fact that there's so many lines in her, but he's trying to match that and in turn making her look old, which I think is very hard with this piece because she does look very young in the photograph, but at the same time there's a lot going on with different planes, and if you don't have a moldable medium like paint, then you are having to manually draw in those edges, which in turn makes someone look old.
Right.
It's very hard to find a balance that works.
Right. It's very it was and it's so much of it's just the expression and everything. It's that's what I always have that problem a lot. I use a lot of lines in the drawings, and it's very easy. Usually when I draw someone, I tend to make them look 5 to 6 years older.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's beautifully painted. I just thought it was interesting that he brought up that point because that was something that I was struggling with in the drawing stage of mine as well. Yeah. But I find that it's not as scary in the painting stage because you can kind of mask edges with form instead.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anything you kind of smooth out parts that might be a little bit...
yeah, and you can you can show the fact that something is filled with flesh. Like, for example, the cheeks, for example. The cheeks have a lot of lines on them. If you look on her right cheek, so the left of the picture for us, you can see several lines going up her cheek and under her eye. But it's not because she has wrinkles or anything like that. It is because of the different layers of like flesh on her face being squished around by her expression and like all the energy that she has in her at that moment. And it's very hard, I think, with a drawn medium to represent all those different subtleties, but at the same time maintain the softness that is in the original photograph. Whereas when you've got paint, you aren't stuck with just drawing an edge. You can show the curvature of a form and then in turn show the fact that those lines aren't there because they are lines. They are there because a weight is pressing on them or because one thing's being pulled in one direction. And I think it is easier to show that.
Yeah, I was like, they're looking at it as you're... So let's see here. Eyes are bottom lit equals challenge. Yeah, that's true. Also a good point the man makes there. Bottom lit eyes get tricky because it goes against the natural instinct of making the dark side under the eyebrow as opposed to making that of the light side.
Well, underlighting is hard in general because it's very easy to make someone look terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? That's like the thing. You use underlighting to like make someone look like the devil or look like the bad guy of a movie or something. You don't usually use it in a positive sense unless you're like sat around like a very warm fire. But even then, it's so hard to not slip into a different image.
Yeah, that's like maybe that was kind of a little struggle in what I was having in that too, was maybe I was instinctually accidentally shading certain areas that are the underlit areas and not and reversing my, because it just looked really cluttered. I had enough trouble measuring things, and even when I get things measured, my lines were super cluttered, and all my shapes were everything was yeah, I mean there wasn't much happening in those drawings that was really on point in actuality. It was a good lesson in pretty much how not to approach a drawing in that case.
Aw.
But that's all right. It happens. What about doing a Care Bear stare?
Wait, what?
What?
What? What? What does that mean? I think my painting looks way worse on the stream than it does in real life.
That's an interesting conundrum.
That's weird. I've never noticed that before.
Is it just maybe the scale? Like when it's smaller?
Yeah, it doesn't look as small. My mum just brought over her iPad for me so I could see the stream running. So I can actually see what's going on right now.
Yeah, that's right. You're kind of holding down the art for it right now. I don't even know what to. Does anyone have any other art to share or anything?
Yeah, if anyone has any art to share, we'll show it.
We can just share it. We'll just put it up. We're kind of just, since there wasn't really any art to critique or anything, we were just kind of just putting up, kind of just showing things as they were going. Let's see, we might have something right here. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Said, that gal explain, evil smiling witch. Would you like us to take a look, that gal explained? Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Making sound effects. What? Remove? Oh, come on. What's going on here?
What's wrong?
No, she said no. Fair enough.
Hopefully it's starting to look better now that I'm adding in the eyelashes.
Tentacularly's got stuff. 2 things sent to DACPix on Twitter. 1 old RGD and 1 new one. Let's do it. Oh, that's a really cute. That's a cute painting. I needed that. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this now.
There we go.
I feel like I've made her look more like J.K. Rowling than her. My drawing looks a lot like J.K. Rowling for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it's coming along really nicely.
Oh, thank you.
Here we go. Booyah.
Sorry, I need to wait for the delay.
I like it. I like being with birds with the minimal features they have on their face. There always is like a weird subtle expression they got. Like this is a vindictive bird.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. I used to have a budgie.
They said what?
A budgie.
Oh.
He was cool. I saved him from my cat.
What was his name?
Paradise. Because
Nice.
he looked like a bird of paradise.
Ah. Which cat did you save him from?
I think it was Jasper. He had a thing for like trying to kill birds.
He wanted to give it to you as a gift, where he just like leaves it on the porch. It's like, check
No,
it.
he really didn't. He really wanted to like take that thing away and eat it.
Oh.
He really didn't want to give it to me. I had to chase him around the garden and get it off of him. And then we put like notices around being like, has anyone lost a budgie? And like tried to contact people, and no one claimed him, so we kept him.
This guy's looking a little vindictive in his piece too. These birds are up to something.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. You'll see in a second when this one switches over to the live stream.
Oh yeah.
He's like peeking down around. It's just like
parrots always look like that.
Yeah, well, parrots either look like that or they kind of look like they like just told a joke and they're waiting for you to laugh.
Yeah, they're like
They're like right, you know.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
There was this awesome parrot. There's this pet store that was down the street and went in there and there's a parrot. His name was Hollywood, and I didn't know you could like scratch and pet parrots. Like,
oh yeah,
I just didn't know that. I remember hearing something as a kid, like if like one of a bird's feathers is out of a line, they can like no longer fly or be a bird anymore or something. So I was always like, can never touch a bird. So I didn't know you could do that.
Right, yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god. But I still always have this fear. Something about beaks. I always just feel like they're gonna go straight for my eyes.
Yeah.
I really actually like the wash of the beak on this one too.
Yeah, it's really good. Very, very good. You're very wonderful peoples.
You guys are the best. That gal explained, parrots are mean.
It sounds like it comes from experience.
Do they? Are parrots normally pretty mean?
They're pretty destructive, but you can train them very well. But yeah, you leave them stuff, they destroy it.
There's a bunch of parrots in San Francisco. They
or just like existing.
Yeah, there's like these green parrots. I guess what had happened is I don't know how. Actually, to be honest, I don't know how they got there. Somehow, maybe one was on a boat or something. I don't remember, but they got out. And they weren't natural to the environment, but of course they took over, and now there's just like, you can hear them. It's like, it's crazy because they're downtown. They're in like the Embarcadero area in that, which is like the financial district. So like you'll be in the park in like the financial district surrounded by banks, and then you hear just like the like of like 1,000 parrots in the trees.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Oh, and Telegraph Hill. What kind of parrots were those? I'm gonna look those up. San Francisco parrots. Oh, they're the wild parrots at Telegraph Hill. Oh wait, is that like there's a movie?
Wait, what?
I didn't even realize it was like a whole kind of like phrase. Yeah.
It's like a legit thing.
A homeless musician's life is transformed after he discovers a flock of wild South American parrots living in San Francisco. How they got there is a mystery, but Mark Bittner forms a bond with the exotic birds through his music and his patient, attentive care. Over time, he comes to appreciate their individual identities and makes a case for humans to reevaluate their relationship to animals. When he is forced to leave, he despairs over the bird's fate. It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What? What is this?
What is this parrot movie? Quick news news about it, huh?
Sorry, my tablet was annoying me.
So my man's posting not safe for work photos into the chat.
Oh my gosh, don't.
No, they're fine.
Are they parrots?
No. It's my man just chilling in his hot tub.
Oh right, okay.
Just a big smile on his face. All right, peeps. You guys, does anyone have any more art they want to share? You let us know.
And then we'll finish up.
Yeah, then we'll just wrap up. We'll just show it kind of a ragtag style like we're doing right now. Since everything was kind of coming in at different times.
When you flip the canvas and realize that everything's not quite in alignment.
Oh, right. That's just throw that liquefy, boom, drag it. Actually, I'm curious how I wanna go out bigger on the screen. I want to see how you fix it because that's something I still need to get better at with my.
Well, I don't know if I've been bothered already. The way to fix it is to combine both liquefy and also like flattening the whole image and cutting it out, moving it, and then painting around it to correct it.
Right.
That's how you would do it. It's just whether I can be bothered. Do I care enough, basically?
That's the real question. The man says, "I love your painting, Sarah."
Oh, thank you. I haven't done any digital painting other than those little chibi things for a very long time. So it's quite nice to come into this with literally no expectations and just be like, just do the thing. Just enjoy doing the thing.
We got a really beautiful Slam 9 work in progress. Hold on. And my man, did you want your picture to be on the show?
If someone's tagging something that's not safe for work, it does not get on this show.
It's not. It's not actually not safe for work. It's
okay.
That was. Is that tub made of wood?
Huh?
I think the like hot tub thing it's made of wood.
Most hot tubs are, aren't they?
Well, no, the outsides, but not the part that the water's in.
Oh.
Wow. What's that sound? Is that on your side or my side?
That is not my side.
No, I guess someone is outside my apartment screaming.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like.
Typical. Alright, here we go. I got a few pieces here we're going to share.
Okay.
We got something from Slam 9 and a beautiful piece from Heather Makes Things. So let's see here. Let me just load this. Ah, that loaded it in the wrong thing. No, that's not what I wanted either. It's alright, give me a minute.
Okay.
Nope, that's not what I wanted either. What the hell? I have like 3 programs that are almost the same name that do the same thing. There we go. Good lord. Oh, it's going. It's kind of doing its own. All right. You know what? I got a new plan how I'm gonna do this. Sorry, this is for some reason it keeps opening in a program that's different. I don't know why.
It's okay.
I am struggling with my computer today. Here we go. Open with. So that goes there. That goes there. And oh wait, we got something else here. Oh my god, totally.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
It was a request from That Gal Explain. It says critique this please, which will actually kind of hilarious because it thematically fits into a discussion from earlier.
Okay.
And let's see, we'll put that one in the end here. Okay. Now I'm going to share the screen. I'm eating... Someone's just eating whipped cream and drinking white wine. He's just having the time of his life there. All right, let's see here. All right. Here's a beautiful landscape piece. This work in progress from Slam 9. I really like this. I really like the the cool palette in it too. And by cool, I meant awesome, and I meant with cool colors as well. Ultimate Superman. There's like, especially like there's
look at it.
Don't you love kind of like the swinging kind of swinging shape of the clouds? Is like, oh man, that thing's gonna be, oh, that's just awesome.
That is gorgeous. That is so good. Oh, slap. That is beautiful.
The silhouetting, the movement it has, the way the ripples lead up to the horizon. Well, they lead up to the reflection, which leads to the horizon, which leads to the sky. Everything moves in that just beautifully. I love the leaves too.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that is looking great. And then
my man is also.
There's Tomo in this tub.
What? What's wrong?
You'll see it in a second. It's gonna go fast. You gotta catch it like a shooting star. So you gotta watch the live stream.
Okay, I'm watching. I
actually didn't even realize.
Okay, hey.
See, it's fine.
That's a great photo.
That is a great photo. Oh boy. And then we use the image of the man. It's just cleansing the palette between pieces of art.
I love the concept of that.
Oh boy. And yeah, we got a nice piece from Heather Makes Things right here. And I remember this post. I didn't even have a chance to scroll through all their pictures, but someone had. Is this from the person that had all the costumes of dressed as Frida Kahlo? Kahlo.
I think it's Kahlo.
Kahlo.
That's so good. I love the flowers. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, and then it's just the. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like really good just kind of shapes and flat color work that's in analogous palettes. The last one's a very cool palette, and this one's a analogous warm palette, which is really nice. Unless there's green hidden in there and I can't see it because of my eyes and brain. But, you know, I don't think there is.
There's very, very tiny specks of it.
Where?
In the flowers.
Really?
Like,
oh, right. I can actually see
Can you see very top right?
Yeah.
The little yellow flower has tiny specks of green behind it.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Okay. Then my statement still stands. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm excited to see where these go. RGD. And we have to critique this right here. What do we got? I'm not sure which game this is. I played Warhammer 40K. I didn't play it very well. I really just had a Space Wolf's army that I was painting, and then I was gonna sell it to. I started selling pieces to a dude that had a comic shop, and I gave them to a friend to sell, and then he never. I never saw them again, and apparently they were actually worth quite a bit of money. This is 40K. What army is this?
Now, bear in mind I'm looking on a very, very, very small screen, so I'm not going to be able to see the subtleties of this. But was this asking for critique?
I too had an underpainted Space Wolf's army. Yeah, we're gonna. So that's because we were gonna talk about Bjorn the Dreadnought and Ragnar Blackmane, and yeah, you guys. That's right. I was there. I remember the. I had mad space orcs. The orcs were tricky.
Did you say they wanted critique on this?
Yes. And it's a little hard to tell in the photo because it's a little dark on the figurines, but I think there's particularly some here. I want to zoom in on the dry brushing back here. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can just get it bigger.
Yes, that's what I was going to pick up on because I'm looking on a very, very small screen, so I apologise if I can't see the subtleties of it. But I was going to say my gut reaction is that there could be just a touch more dry brushing on like the bottoms of the cloaks and stuff, but maybe it is there and I can't see it.
The guy at the back is from Warhammer Fantasy. The others are Chaos cultists, except for the Marine on the left. Oh, so it's a mix. Okay, so I was thinking this Chaos army made sense there. I wasn't familiar with the guy in the back. Yeah, and the Space Marine. Yeah, I mean, that was the only thing I'd say is I actually like how it's building right here, but you could still probably add lighter values of dry brushing in there and really pop things off with some real bright highlights. And it's kind of funny because you have to. It's weird when you're dry brushing like that because you're simulating that sunlight shining on it, so you would think sunlight would naturally do it itself, but for some reason it doesn't. So you have to, so you can make it pop even more because it's looking awesome so far.
Well, you could also
really
use
like on the
dry
gun over
brushing.
here. Yeah.
You can use dry brushing to add the dirt as if they've been running through whatever land they're in. So, like, I'm imagining, like, a sandy land, for example.
Oh, right.
So, on the bottoms of this guy at the front, at the very front center, the guy with the little red coat that's coming down, you could just dry brush the very bottom of his coat with a very subtle bit of, like, ochre or brown. Just to get the idea that as he ran, the backs of his shoes kicked up dirt onto his little coat. Like, little things like that really work with these guys.
And I like how back here, you notice this guy's starting to get, like, the terrain, the ballast put in there in dry brush, which was, like, my favorite part, was putting the little terrain and then painting it. You can see it on this one, too. God, this is making me want to paint Warhammer figures again. Why didn't I just keep my Space Wolf's army? Why did I have to get rid of it?
And I never got around to painting all of them. It's ridiculous.
I only painted like a few characters, but they were all primed. Oh, here we got more images. Oh yeah, these are okay. Man, we gotta. Okay, I gotta make this. I gotta. Whoop.
No. Whoop.
I don't know. I had actually my desktop is safe. I just had to make sure. But yeah, okay. There's nothing there I have to worry about. There was a couple more images we'll share, and it's really where you can see the dry brushing and some of the light a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh my god, this is really making me miss painting those. Alright. And that. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a little. This one's a little darker on the edges, but you can get a little more of the detail on the base and on the sword and some of the paint on there. I remember trying to apply the little decals that came with them. That was so... it was so nerve-wracking because I remember they like wasn't exactly right and it's just there. You're like, oh, God. I was Warhammer free for so long, then one day it dragged me back, and now I'm broke.
Oh, I love the little bits of, like, I guess it's like bloodiness on the back of his hand. Yeah,
that was. I think a lot of it is those details were just kind of lost on the last photo being a little dark, and now I can see it a little better.
Yeah, I mean I'm still looking on a tiny screen, so it's quite hard for me to see the subtleties, but
yeah,
they're looking very cool, very cool.
And then there's this other one it has a lot more light on it.
You can use again. I mean, I really think in model making, dry brushing is such a good technique.
Yeah.
I do think you can use that dry brushing of a very pale silver on the very edges of like the metal work, so like the metal gun or the metal weaponry, just on the very tips of it, as little as paint as you can, and it will just catch the little highlights, because when you've got an object like a something that reflects light so strongly, it's those very thin seams that catch the light and create this like sudden glimmer. Yeah. And it'll make it look so much more realistic.
Yeah, and I think it's like the way they kind of did it on the mask too, where you paint like a black layer, and then you really just dry brush, like I think it's called bolt gun metal is the name of the silver.
Oh really?
I can't remember that is called bolt gun metal. And now it's all flooding back. I remember like using zip kicker to glue all the pieces together. Oh, that stuff was gnarly.
Memories, man, memories.
Yeah, because
it's been a long time since I've made one of those.
It's been a long time for me, and I just remember because zip kick. I'll always remember that smell of zip kicker because you spray it on the super glue and it makes it dry instantly. But it was like super toxic, and you'd always glue your fingers together. And then I remember you could actually see like a little bit chemical smoke when you spray it.
Oh god.
Yeah, but it was crazy because even if it only hit part of the glue, a chemical reaction just made it just boom, go solid. Peace, love, and Warhammer. I'm out. If you're actually out, peace out. Ultimate Supermaster. That's what this show's about. Peace, love, and Warhammer.
There was one thing my man asked if we finish with people's artwork.
He said...
Yeah, he asked if I could show... If I could actually go ahead and show how I would go about fixing the eye, yeah.
Yeah, I switched over to full screen on you.
Okay. Just only a little bit.
Because he wants to, the man wants to get into more of the digital painting, but he doesn't know the tricks.
Okay, so let's flatten the image. Do I want to flatten the entire image? Okay, I'm gonna flatten down to having her and the background. They're like separate objects right now. Okay, so what I would do, there's two ways of doing this. The way that I feel most comfortable with is this. So you lasso. So for those lassoing, a great little tool is when you start lassoing, hold the Alt key. That means when you take your hand off of it, it still holds the point that you're on. You can then point, and select what you want to move. So I'm going to select this eye because it's in the wrong place. Then I've merged the layers, right? I'm going to drag that layer down onto, wait, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Just so you guys know, the reason why I was thinking of doing that if I drag the layer down onto this new layer icon, that copies the layer, so that will duplicate it. But actually I'm going to do something else. Because I've merged the entire thing, I'm just going to do edit copy, and then edit paste special, paste in place. That means it's exactly, I have a layer here, which if I hide underneath, is just the eye in the exact location where it is on the original piece. Then I can select the movement tool, use Control H to hide the movement tool, and then just using my little control keys, I can just gently move it around until it feels like it's closer to where it should be. Control H to make that visible again. I'm going to zoom in for a little bit more control. And now I can rotate it slightly. So that's getting closer. I can, let's do an image flip. So image, rotation, flip horizontal, image, rotation, flip horizontal. The reason why I do this is every now and then my eyes get too adjusted to what it looks like and I can't see what's wrong. So I'm going to turn that because I've actually turned that far too far. Her eye is definitely moving down. And if we look here, those should line up with that line. So it should start here. So let's move that down. Apply. Down, 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 down. Right, is that more correct or is that less correct? Right, image rotation, flip horizontal, image rotation, flip horizontal. I do have keys set up to do that flip for me without me going through all of that, but I can't remember what they are, so I'm just going to do that. Now I have the actual sphere of her eye is wrong that I've done. So you'll notice this iris is pointing in this upward direction. This one's kind of coming inward. So that means that I've actually painted the sphere of the eye wrong, which isn't going to help me, but whatever. Another way to affect this is to go to Edit, Transform. Now you have multiple different things here. For a simple transform, you have the warp, which allows you to do things like this, right? So let's go back on that. Where's my history? History, where are you? Boop. Let's just don't apply. Okay, so that's what that does. And you also have Puppet Warp, which I've shown before. For some reason it didn't show. Oh, there we go. Where you create anchor points that hold the object in place. And then from there, you can stretch it in very minute ways. Now, what I think I want, because it's quite hard to see what I'm doing, I'm going to go Window, Arrange. I can't do it right now because I'm doing that. Okay, apply, whatever. Window, Arrange. New window for Untitled because I've not saved it. Then I'm going to open it in a new window. So I now have what I'm working on over here in its own window. Now, usually I would have this on my other screen so that it's not in the way of my drawing area. But I'm going to keep it here simply for purposes of you guys being able to see what I'm doing. So I have one copy of the image that shows it in real time of what it looks like. The other image I can affect, and it will show it on the other image. So edit, where is it? Transform, puppet warp. Okay, so for demonstration purposes, let's link this down. And as I move this on the right screen, I want you to look at the left screen. Yeah, so you see that it's moving it on the other screen as well. So that means that I can make subtle changes here, and I can see the overall image on the left to see if it's actually working. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to explain this and get it in the perfect position I want it in, so I'm just going to end it there. What you then do is you can continue working on the same layer, which most people do, but because I'm not confident with this, I'm just going to open a new layer. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool. Now, for those of you who saw that pop up and you don't know what that is, I'm working on a Cintiq, which has a wheel on the left. It also has buttons on the pen itself. Now, if you have one of these, or even if you just have an Intuos, you really want to keybind those keys. You want to go into your settings and you want to tell it different buttons get you as fast as you can to your most used item. So I have a button on my Cintiq that brings up this little scroll wheel, which gets me to my brush panel, brush tool, eyedropper, gradient tool, merge down, lasso tool, and hide and reveal stuff. So that means that I can access my most used tools without moving over to the screen to find them. So I can just be jumping from lasso to brush, eyedropper to brush, eyedropper to brush, without moving across the screen, and it means I work significantly faster. So we're in the eyedropper. We select the color that we want, brush tool. I do need to check that I'm on the correct brush though. And then we kind of try and paint out. If you look here, you can see a very subtle line where I've cut it out and moved it. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to paint that away. Now, the biggest thing really is you want to get your proportions right at the beginning of your painting so that you don't have to do this. Because the more you have to do this, the more painting you're doing, the more gross brushiness you're adding to your image, and also the more time you're adding to making your painting. But we are human, we make mistakes, and sometimes we have awful deadlines. So from here, you can simply paint over it and correct your image, and that's starting to get to a stage where it's better. So let's group that, and you can see what change I made. So that's the original, and that's what I've now done. Boop, 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 boop. Now I don't know if it's absolutely perfect because I was paying more attention to talking than painting, but yeah, that gives you an idea of how you can move something without it disrupting the image too much. Another thing you can do, let me just hide that, let me duplicate that layer so that I can do this without affecting my painting. Another thing you can do is use the liquify tool, so filter, liquify, and I will be honest, this is not where I shine. Look up YouTube videos on how to use this correctly, but essentially you can move parts of your painting around on here, and you want to be changing the brush size, the density, and the pressure to show how much an effect your pushing and pulling has on the painting. So it just like switched out of existence just then, but my computer's struggling a little bit, so this might be a bit glitchy, I apologize. So if I just this might be a great way of correcting the irises, because I can just drag the eyes around and it's not screwing up everything around it, which is the clever thing. So I can just readjust that and try and get both of those irises to face in the same direction. And then once I'm happy with it, say OK. It applies your liquify. And there you go, you just saw the change that I made. Now you can see where my computer messed up and it pulled the nose. Now you want to pay attention to that. If your computer's laggy, or if you don't pay attention to what you're doing exactly, you can end up pulling areas you didn't expect to. But if you ignore the nose here and instead focus on the eyes, if you watch just the irises, oh, wrong one, boop, boop. So that's the original. Watch this one actually. Facing upward, facing towards perhaps the subject over here. So upward subject, upward subject. So that gives you an idea of the different tools you can use to affect your painting. I hope that helps.
He left a half hour ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Good explanation about flipping. Never knew why people did that. What program are you using? I am using Photoshop CS5. I am not using the cloud version, CC, because I don't want to pay a subscription fee for Adobe software. It's good for some people, but not for me personally. It was better for me to pay an outright fee up front and then receive a lifetime product rather than be paying a subscription fee when I know that some months I don't have that money. Right. I have Apple, yet I'm working on a MacBook Pro 15-inch with a Cintiq 13 HD. Those are my programs, my hardware. So you just want to make sure that you got the Apple versions of everything. Did you finish your book? We're getting there. Things are happening. We're getting there. It's due out this Christmas. I extended the ending, so it went from 200 pages to 280 pages now. So I'm currently still working on it. We already have pre-orders for it. If you are interested in pre-ordering the book, you can do so from my website. But yeah, it's getting there. I've already booked the printing, so it's going to happen, whether I like it or not. I have booked the printing date, so it's happening. But yeah, I had a big thing at MCM London where I showed off the front cover and some of the pages and stuff like that, so people could get excited for it. And yeah, people have already pre-ordered it, and they'll be receiving it just in time for Christmas. But that's only if you're UK mainland. If you're outside the UK, you will not receive it in time for Christmas. Yeah. Whoop.
It's really amazing how powerful those tools are for that.
Yeah.
Even just the most subtle things.
Yeah, I learnt all of that from the Only Academy. Mm-hmm. I think the thing is all of the information is out there for free. It is. There are so many different courses and programs and stuff that you can find all the information about how to use Photoshop. But I'll be honest, it's nice to just find it all in one place. I bought a book on Photoshop. If you are getting into Photoshop, I recommend it. It's 3D Total's Photoshop for Beginners Characters. I believe that's the name of it. Or Digital Painting in Photoshop for Characters. Look up 3D Total's works and you'll see it. I bought that book. The first chapter in that is incredibly good for teaching you some basic Photoshop. If you have no other access to anything else, I would recommend getting that book. If you are able to afford it and you are willing to go through the torture of it, I would recommend the Only Academy or an equivalent digital painting course, because just having all of the information in the same place and being able to ask someone questions about it is just invaluable. Just being able to say, sorry, I don't understand how you did that, and they go, oh, it's like this. Like I was watching a live stream, and they just casually did a thing where they created a new layer, and they made it go black and white, and I was very impressed. So for those who are wondering, new layer, paint bucket in white, change it to color mode, which is right at the bottom of your adjustment layers. Boom, black and white, without having to affect any of the adjustment layers, any of the actual document. You don't have to make a new document that's black and white, and you can constantly flip between that throughout the entire progress. And that means that every change you make with the color, you can then immediately check the values on, which is just...
That's huge.
Brilliant. Right, yeah. It's like just knowing the fact that the 3 buttons gets you to be able to do that and not damage your painting in any way throughout the entire project. And you can just keep that layer existing on the top of your palette and you're done. You can always check your values. So it's just little things like that. You see a painter that you look up to do something, you just say, can you just explain how you did that? And they just do it for you. It's like, brilliant, thank you. And then you have it recorded and you can keep it forever. So every time you forget, you can look it back up again.
That is actually really, really, really useful.
Yeah, and it's just little things like that in Photoshop that I had no idea about. That, because I used to work with Manga Studio. I think if you don't have a chance to learn Photoshop, I would recommend Manga Studio or Sai to train you up into it. I started out with Manga Studio because Sai is not available on Mac, and before anyone tells me, yes, it is available, it's not, it doesn't work. It does not work. If you try and download that copy of Sai onto a Mac, it does not load, or at least it does not work on my computer or my OS, so it doesn't work. Until they come out with an official version, then don't trust people who tell you that Sai is available on Mac. So I used Manga Studio, which is very good and very cheap. So if you need an alternative, I've also heard very good things about Krita, but from my personal experience, I genuinely really enjoyed Manga Studio because, and this is the main reason, it has a fantastic blend tool and a fantastic painting tools and pen tools, which when you load up Photoshop, it doesn't feel like it has a tool. You have to know what to do to the brushes to make them work for you in Photoshop, whereas Manga Studio is designed to work straight away with you. It doesn't have the depth and breadth that Photoshop does, which is why I now exclusively use Photoshop. But it really made a massive difference to me when I was learning digital painting, and I didn't have that tuition to start out with something like Manga Studio, which is a lot friendlier and can teach you, I guess it teaches you what you should be looking for in Photoshop. It tells you, you enjoy using this type of paintbrush. So then when you go to Photoshop, you're like, well, I'll look for a paintbrush that does that thing that I like. Yeah.
I'm still, it's funny.
Everyone's agreeing with you.
Huh?
Everyone's agreeing with you that it's National Listen to Records and
oh, right.
Day.
Heather Makes Things says, just scooped ice cream. It's like, well, that scoop better be going directly into your mouth and not a bowl. Yeah, that's I think it's kind of funny because I've so little experience with Photoshop, and it's interesting to, like, I wasn't even at the point where I thought about, like, making my custom tools there ready, like immediate flipping, immediate, like, black and white for values, and how useful it would be to have that is such a quick access. Oh man, I should really sit down and
enjoy traditional art. I do, and I wish that I were better at traditional painting and stuff. I mean, I love to draw with a pencil. There's nothing. Digital painting does not feel the same as traditional painting. It just doesn't. It feels more visceral to have the paint and to work with the paint and to fight with the paint.
Right.
But at the same time, I can't imagine ever doing another piece of professional work not digitally. I can't see the point for myself to put myself through all of that paint unless it's for something very specific or something I really want in its traditional original form. I just can't see the reason to say, well, I'll pay £300 for a bunch of oil paints when I have infinite oil paints on my computer. I don't know, right. It's just weird. I know it won't be the same, and I know it can't even pretend to be the same. Like, you see people who make paintings that look at like stunning oil paints, but at the end of the day, why are you trying to force a medium to be a different medium when in fact it's never going to be that medium? It can just be a version of it. It's a cousin of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. But, and it's intent, like it's like, if I'd work in traditional, because I mean, that's just, I grew up in that, and that's what I love to do. But also, it's like lots of my art goals involve making this art and having it all be in a room on walls somewhere. That being said, I'm trying to train myself to not think about that as much, though, moving forward, because as things move on, that's becoming I'm not scared. I mean, obviously I like the idea of art shows and having shows like that, and you're in an environment and you're surrounded by the art, and I love that experience. But I do genuinely feel like over time the demand for that experience is only just going to decrease, you know, and people won't need that as much to have the same emotional response. So I really should spend some time training to work digitally, just to I don't know, just to you know, it's different medium, different style, fall in love with it. It's fun to learn.
I think you will be surprised how much you hate it and also how much you love it.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird thing to say, but I did both absolutely despise it when I started and couldn't bear to be near it.
Right.
And I now love it to pieces. And it's a very odd feeling to know that those are two very important stages of making digital art.
Yeah,
I think
go.
If you try digital art and you're like, I can't do this, I hate it, it doesn't feel right, everything is awful. Well, that's normal. I've only heard of about 3 artists who haven't felt like that I've met. And every single other one was like, this is awful, I hate it. How can anyone deal with this? And I think that's so interesting, because then they later, it's just such a, you know that you can draw and you know that you can paint, but you can't on this medium. And it's like, why can't I paint on this medium? What is this? What? And it's just because you have to learn the tricks. It's just another set of tricks. It's like learning another medium.
Well, and it's hard to go from
time.
Traditional to, because I feel like when I paint traditionally, there's a routine and a process to it, and that process does not translate to digital. When I watch people do tutorials and how like professionals digitally paint, at least the technique I use, it's completely different. It's like a very bizarre middle ground between painting and drawing. It's like all at once at the same time, you're using drawing techniques and painting techniques together. Yeah. And it's really bizarre. And it was something I had a lot of trouble, because I always felt like, that's why I feel like when you see beginner digital paintings, and I know that it's definitely how mine look, is that thing where you can see the drawing lines and then you can see the hazy paint layer on top, but they don't, you know what I mean? Like it never comes together. And I think that's why. I think it's because the techniques for digital painting live in a middle ground between the two, and you need to know how to merge where those different techniques merge in digital, and then make one kind of new technique, because it's a very different type of the way you paint through full layers on traditional is some of it is replicated in digital, but when I watch digital, it always goes back and forth between drawing and painting. And it tends to be with painting, you tend to start kind of either with a drawing or whatever, but then it's just like painting, whereas you don't reintroduce drawing back into it. It's bizarre. Like technically it leans more towards painting as it moves on, just like you would in a traditional medium, but there's something about it while it's watching it that always is really mind-blowing to me, is how it can be in between two sets of techniques and merge them together. And that is the hardest thing, at least I've had struggle learning, and it's been the thing I'm most fascinated by with it, because I think it's a real powerful element of it.
I think that was the thing I most struggled with as well, because I'm very much a drawer, I'm not a painter. And I'm very much a drawer and not a sculptor, so there was a massive part of that I didn't understand, and I found it very hard to paint. And it wasn't until I studied at the Early Academy, and I still am studying, although there's a story there. It wasn't until I started that, and Chris Oatley basically teaches you art history and the techniques of the masters. Like, he will take a Monet and explain how the Monet was created, and then he will point out, and this is how you do that with a digital painting. This is how you create the exact same effect. This is how you, like, it teaches underpainting, and how underpainting is both used in traditional oil paints and used in digital painting. It's something I was never taught. I was never taught classical painting techniques, and it's so cool to be being taught classical painting techniques, and at the same time being taught how to modernize them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're making the better or anything like that, but it's just interesting to be like, learn from the masters and apply their techniques to the medium you wish to use. So if you you aren't fighting with your medium, you're accepting its both strengths and weaknesses, and at the same time you are trying to apply things that as a human race we have already decided make something great.
Yeah. That's like,
yeah,
that's a really good way to do that.
It's very good, although I'm having some issues with the early academy at the moment. They've broken my account.
Oh.
And it's heartbreaking. I missed a live session at the weekend, and I'm quite upset about it. Because they promised me I'd be able to see it, and I didn't get to see it.
Oh, that sucks.
And it was like, yeah, so I missed a school event, so I'm a bit upset. But they have wholeheartedly apologised. They're trying their best, so I'll give them their time. But I'm a little disappointed because I'm paying monthly for this, and I can't access anything on my account. So
are they going to like rebate the, what's the word I'm looking for, where you give like a partial refund for the days that it wasn't active? Like, I
don't know. I'm gonna look into it and see how much money's gone out and how much time I've not had access to this thing, and maybe bring a case to them and be like, guys, please, you guys are cool and I love you guys to bits, but I can't afford to be paying for an education that I can't have. Just can't afford it.
Prorate, that's what I'm looking for. If they can prorate the cost.
Yeah, so basically my account is broken, and they don't know what the problem is. They're trying to get the developers to work through it. The developers of the website thought they'd fixed it and sent me a link, and it didn't work. And they don't know why it hasn't worked. So they just said that they went into my account because basically my account kept cancelling itself. So I would pay each month for it, and it would cancel at some point during the month, and I would just lose it. Do you remember a little while back I said that my Patreon, I didn't have access to the money, and my Only Academy had lost it? It started then, and they went into my account and they found in the database that there's basically an error on my account, and they don't understand why. But the web devs are trying to fix it. They're working hard, so that's all I can ask of them, really. But I just hope it gets fixed soon, because I'm really, really enjoying studying at the Only Academy. It's been a massive help to my art education, so I hope that they can fix it soon, because I want to get back to it.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, yeah, it's come a long way, and I've especially seen like all like kind of just the knowledge of different techniques and tools that you've learned from it
it's
seems
just like
incredibly beneficial.
Like that. Yeah, it's very, very good. I honestly, I may be having some issues with it at the moment, but I honestly would recommend the Early Academy to as many people as I could, because I think at the same time I also wouldn't recommend it to people. If you are one of a sensitive disposition, I think it's going to be very, very hard for you. It needs someone who, I mean, you guys know me. You know the kind of character I am. You know that I am a fighter when it comes to what I want to do. So you need to be that kind of person. You need to, if someone, no, not someone, because they're all very encouraging. If something in, say, in your art pushes you down so hard that you are, like, you feel physically destroyed, but you know you'll get back up again because it's worth it, then you can do this. If you're that person, you can do this course. If you are not that person, I'd say still give it a try, but be prepared that it is a very hard course to do. Not necessarily because of a ton of workload or anything like that. It's just because it pushes you to places you haven't practiced before. Like, starting out with them saying you have to paint an entire masterpiece, but you are only allowed to use the lasso tool and the gradient tool. You can't use any brush strokes. It messes with your brain. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's very much worth it. It teaches a lot. I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to more of it.
I should be taking time. I don't know how to do it. I need to practice and learn some more digital stuff. I should be practicing that, but I just don't know how I would fit that in.
Dude, the chat though right now is quite amazing, and I love the fact that the last thing in chat is I love the weekly Damien Hirst shit talking.
You always can show up for our weekly shit talk. By the way, our first guest next week will be Damien Hirst. No.
Can you imagine if we ever had Damien Hirst in it? That would be the best thing.
You know what? It wouldn't. It would be that thing where it would be like most instances of my life when I have an opinion on something. Is that eventually down the road I'm going to be proven to be an asshole. I'm going to be the one that's just like, well, I was wrong, and so be the experience of the life and art. I mean, I'm pretty sure. You know, I can be pretty sure about things sometimes, but you never know. You know, there might be that thing one day. Just like
you do never know.
But yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't get particularly. I'm glad we have our weekly our weekly round of it. Yeah, I guess, does anyone have any like last questions here before we head on to things? And while people are coming up with questions, where can they find your art?
You can find my art at guyzra.com. That is GYZRA.com. On the front page, you can find information about my commissions and also the pre-orders for my book. I'm currently fully booked for commissions until next year, but you can find the information to get on a waiting list if you're interested. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Guyzra, GYZRA. You can find me on Patreon at patreon.com/GYZRA. So it's all Guyzra. The only thing that is separate is my YouTube and Twitch account, because they're based around gaming. I am under the name I'm under the name, my mum coughing. I'm under the name A Gamer Draws on Twitch and YouTube. YouTube has had to take a little bit of a back burner this year just because of the book. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can do stuff next year, because I have some really big plans to do with my YouTube channel that go back to us talking about how people in the UK in GCSER are not taught what they need to know to become an artist. So I'm currently planning, I'm like mini writing a series about the things that if I could go back in time, I wish I'd taught myself. It's going to be 3-parters at the moment. I'd be interested in people's opinions on this. First part is sort of like teaching basic fundamental art, and the things that I wish someone had come back and taught me when I was about 13 or so. So it's aimed at people currently in GCSE. I will then have a series on convention art and how to get over your own personal anxiety and fear to do with selling your artwork at conventions and interfacing with the public, and how I look after myself at shows. And then the third part, because I have a little bit of an insecurity on YouTube in that there is a lot of fantastic painters and tutorial makers on YouTube that I think, why would anyone want to hear me and not them? But I've had a lot of people asking me to do it. Like some of my videos on YouTube have gotten a lot more views than I would have expected, and people keep asking me to make more. So I am going to make more, bearing in mind as long as nothing catastrophically wrong happens next year. But fingers crossed, if the YouTube comes back, I am planning to make more that are tutorial based. But they will be aimed more around the idea of us studying together. So when I do my weekly studies, I will film them and we can study together. So if I'm doing Charles Bark drawings, you guys can do Charles Bark drawings with me and we can talk about how we're getting and stuff. So if you guys think that those sound like good things, do let me know. Send me a message on Twitter or Instagram or something and say, hey, I actually am interested in those YouTube things. They're things that have been rattling around in my head for the past year, and I'm thinking that maybe in the new year I'll enact them as long as I have the time. I think the thing is, once the book's done, I'll be able to establish how much time I have. So yes, so Twitch and YouTube are A Gamer Draws. I believe you can watch the VODs from the gaming live stream on my Twitch channel at the moment. I think that stays up for 15 days, something like that. And yeah, so that's it, guyzra.com. All the lovely things. How about you? How's life? Where are we finding you?
I want to mention, you say I'm not sure why people would want to watch my tutorials when they can watch so many others, but the point is it's reaching more people that they may come across your thing first, so it's just more information out there for people to access. So the tutorials are good, you know. And you have, and your tutorials are really good, so it's like, you know, you don't even need to trip on that. You're just being hard on yourself. They make really great with tutorials, and the more that are out there, the more information there's for people to find.
I think the thing is because I had a bad art teacher, I worry about being that to someone else. I think that's what I worry about. So it's like, I don't want to give someone the wrong information when they could have gotten better information elsewhere. But I see what you mean in that if they are my audience already, then I can point them in the right direction, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Like, I've had that same thing where I'll say, like, oh, do this and this, and they're like, or just go here. They did a really good job with this right
yeah,
here,
exactly.
You know?
It's like...
Which still helps, you know? Recommendations help people, you know? They may not know what's there until you point it out to them, you know?
Speaking of which, something I've been pointing a lot of my UK friends to today, because they keep asking a question. They're like, oh my god, I don't understand. Fellow international friends, fellow non-Americans, maybe potentially some Americans, who didn't understand how the US election worked, because I was a bit confused by the electoral roll and stuff like that. We don't have that over here. Philip DeFranco has made an amazing video that's like less than a minute long about exactly how it works. I believe CGP Grey has some more politically based ones about the good and the bad of it, but if you just want to know the facts, Philip DeFranco has a great video that I've been sharing a lot today.
Oh yeah. It's it is a very, very controversial aspect, to say the least, controversial aspect of the election system out here.
I think it's just interesting for us foreigners to understand how it works, because I didn't, so...
I think it'd be helpful for a lot of people in America to understand. And then it also could be like, oh, that's, yeah, it is a bit of a system. Yeah.
We won't go into that.
No. So, I guess you could find my art at mcsteffen.com. You can follow me on Instagram at mcsteffen. I was going to say .com, but that's not how that works. Tumblr's mcsteffen. You can also come by, if you're in the Bay Area, you could come by on a first Friday in Oakland, down to FM on 25th Street, and hang out in the studio and chat and see art in person. And there's a lot of great galleries that are all a part of the Art Murmur organization. If you want to see more about what's going on with art in Oakland, California, I recommend going to oaklandartmurmur.org. And if you want to listen to my jams that I make for each week, you can go on Mixcloud, and you can follow me there, where I put them up weekly. And everybody has their own ideas, which also means that Sarah does need to prepare her birthday mix that I need to then mix into a jam set for everybody.
Yeah, I've been thinking about what some of those.
Yeah, that is gonna be interesting. That will be a fun challenge. I do have some ideas. I'm gonna stream on Twitch more. I apologize for that delay. I know I keep saying I'm gonna do it, but I do have ideas for that. And I have a particular idea. It's kind of like two ideas that might actually just merge into one. Depending on things, I just need to work out some technical details and might need to buy some gear and to do some testing. So I don't want to say too much of what that is, because it might not work. So I don't want to get people excited if it doesn't actually work. But if it does, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I can't think of where else people can find me or need to find me. I always just
says, let us know in advance.
Let us know in advance. Oh, what, around the future Twitch things? Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I would mention it in here. I got to see if an idea can merge into one idea or say two separate ideas, and if so, if they work and which ones, etc., and how I can schedule them accordingly. Because if I do it, I want it to be regular. Yeah, I got that. And if anyone's watching this from Twitch, you can also find pretty much all of us in the Artist Lounge subreddit, which is spelled exactly how that is. It's r/Artist Lounge. That's where people hang out, ask questions, and chat to each other. And we were drawing from Reddit Gets Drawn today. And so be sure to join in on that fun, because that's pretty much how we all met. And it's a good community, and it's really great to bring it to Twitch. And yeah, And if there's any questions or anything, always don't be shy. Always feel free to ask and reach out. Because, you know, it's about community, people. Community is really important.
Yes.
Cannot underestimate the importance of community.
Look after yourselves and look after each other.
Yes, very much. We will catch you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. And see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Community and ice cream. Yes.
Oh, I didn't do our normal fade out.
Aw.
Well, I could technically still do it because I'm recording, so maybe I'll just do it right now. Even though it's technically, it'll be on our YouTube. We'll have a fade out, even though on the live stream, we did not. But you know what? It's still fantastic. There we go. A nice graceful exit. That will
How
go.
beautiful.
So beautiful. Love graceful exits.